You're watching a production of South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
From the Dakota Dome in Vermilion, it's the first day of the South Dakota High School Football Championships. Welcome to South Dakota Public Broadcasting. First game out is the 11A championship with the Milbank Bulldogs and the St. Thomas More Cavaliers. Good afternoon from KWSN Radio in Sioux Falls. I'm Craig Maddock along with Mike Henriksen from Sportsmax Radio. And Mike, we've got a good one here in this first one. You got a couple of teams that one of these teams will see their first championship.
Yeah, both of them have been here recently. St. Thomas more often. But before we get to this actual game, we'll be breaking down all of the games for you on pre-games about a half hour before each kickoff. One question that has come up this year, and that is, why is the 11A game at 2:30 on a Thursday afternoon? Well, you may remember a couple years ago, the state decided to go with the 11AA game by itself on Saturday night. At that same time, that's when they decided to flip-flop and have the 11-man games either on Thursday or Friday, 9-man games either on Thursday or Friday, and rotate that so that it made it a little bit easier. And quite honestly, so that some of these teams, it wasn't fair to always be in 9B, for instance, and be playing at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. So that's why we have the 11A game actually kicking off the weekend. But you're right, Craig. Back to your original point.
And it hasn't been fair for Milbank to be in that one conference because they've always had West Central there or Harrisburg or Dale Rapids. Milbank, for the first time in 4 years, gets back to the Dome.
Yeah, and it's very fun to see both of the enthusiasm for both of these squads because they are back at the Dome. Each one, as you said, looking for their first state title. 11A, after that opening night and the record performance by the quarterback from Sisseton, once that West Central was taken care of, all bets were off, and it has really been fun to watch the 11A playoffs transpire.
And St. Thomas More come across the state. They spent the night in Sioux Falls. They practiced on the O'Gorman Field yesterday. Fifth trip in the last 4 years. Or fourth trip in the last 5 years for St. Thomas More. And you know, when you look at both the offense and the defense of both Milbank and St. Thomas More, very much alike. You got offenses that score almost 50% on the ground via the air. I think it's going to be up to the defensive line on both clubs. Big determination of today's game.
I would agree with that. The line play is definitely going to come in, but it is kind of funny. Yesterday afternoon, I was talking to Wayne Sullivan. He was driving across the state, the head coach of St. Thomas More, and he said, you know, as I'm driving all of these miles, the X's and O's are going crazy, and he said, I may have a couple of new wrinkles in. Just talked to him on the field before the game, and he goes, watch for a couple of different sets that you haven't seen out of us this year and a couple of different plays. We walked through them a little bit yesterday. Not a lot of folks make changes once they get to the Dome, but the wide open offense of St. Thomas More and Wayne Sullivan and his staff, they're not afraid to do that.
And Jeremy Tostenson is the head coach at Milbank. He's been there 8 years. I asked him on the field earlier, I says, is this the best team you've had? He goes, well, you know, that 2005 team was pretty special. Right. They could do other things, but he says this is a pretty special group too, and they're certainly excited to be in the Dome today.
And one of the things that both teams have in common is great work ethic. Both of the coaches have talked about the fact that these are kids on both sides of the ball that have the real nose to the grindstone type of attitude. We have to do it as a team in order to succeed, and that's carried through.
I'm not expecting a low-scoring ball game.
I think we'll see some points put up.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a very entertaining game and lots of points, if that's what you find entertaining anyway.
When we come back, we'll take a look at the teams individually. We'll start with St. Thomas More when we come back as you're watching the 11A Football Championship on South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Sanford Health, and by Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Dakota.
The Dakota Dome in Vermillion, South Dakota. Glad to have you with us on South Dakota Public Broadcasting, the 11A championship, and then the 11B championship coming up tonight. Take a listen about take a look at the St. Thomas More Cavaliers. Here's a school, Mike, a private Catholic school that's been around since the early 90s. The football program got started. They weren't very good.
No.
But over the past 10 years, they have really stepped it up thanks to junior football and the middle school programs they have out there with the Rapid City and St. Thomas More. About 200 kids in the school. And over the past 6 years or so, they have absolutely been mentioned among the top elite teams in Class 11A.
Yeah, and Wayne Sullivan is the only coach that this program has ever had. He has taken this from a small 9-man program to now, again, their 5th appearance in the Dakota Dome. No state titles just yet, but they certainly are working on one today. But yeah, it has been a terrific setup for the St. Thomas More Cavaliers.
They put some points on the board. They have an offense, almost 2,000 yards rushing and passing. You see the wins. Their lone loss was to Winter, who we'll see tonight in the 11B championship. That one got away from St. Thomas More, according to some of the people that I talked to at St. Thomas More. But it is a program that has not quite been able to get that championship. They've had a few teams in the way. They were in the 11B title a few times until just 2 years ago.
Yeah, they've run into some real juggernauts here that, once they've gotten to the Dome, Aberdeen, Roncalli, and West Central, and etc. They had no problem with Lee Deadwood in that opening game. Belle-Fourche, which was a very good football team this year. The Bronx finished up 4-4, but boy, their losses were to some really good teams, including St. Thomas More. And then Dakota Valley, the shutout of Dakota Valley last week, that was after Dakota Valley had shut out Harrisburg in the previous round. So their defense is playing very effectively as well. A lot of times you think points when it comes to St. Thomas More, but there you see a good look at Coach Wayne Sullivan and the St. Thomas More Cavaliers. Our friends at KOTA Television had a chance to talk with Jared Jacobson, the quarterback of the Cavaliers, and the head coach, Wayne Sullivan.
Well, that's one of our goals we set every year, conference, region, and a state title. So again, we're on goal number 3, and our kids are excited. They've worked very hard, and so yeah, we got another chance to bring a title home, and hopefully we can get it done. Milbank's very good, physical, big up front, good quarterback. Great running back they have too, and they've really established themselves as of late. I believe they've won on a 6-game win streak now, and so yeah, they're very good, very tough, peaked at the right time. So yeah, we're excited. They mix it up. They run well and throw well. Like I said, they got a good sophomore quarterback who can throw the ball, runs the ball well. Got a great big running back behind a couple 285-pound center, 225-pound guard, big kid, big team. So I think they're going to try and establish their line. The little things. That's one of the things they've done very well at. They read their keys well, get where they're supposed to be, and fundamentally make the tackle, do things that we've been asking of them. They're trusting in what we're asking, and so that's really worked out for them. Limit the turnovers. That's kind of been our nemesis in the Dome with turnovers. So if we can eliminate those and make sure that we sustain our drives, and again, do the little things. That's what we've been preaching all year. Fundamentally correct on our blocking, our tackling, holding onto the ball, catching the ball. We got to do the little things.
It's a goal that we set at the beginning of the year. We've been working all year since middle of August to get to this point. It's obviously a big step in our season and something that we've been trying to achieve all year. They're a typical East River team. They're really big up the middle. They got some big kids, pretty good quarterback, pretty good running back and receiver also. We just got to go out and play the way we have been playing the whole playoffs and play our game. Execution is going to be a big thing. Everyone just got to do their job, line, be able to protect, open up holes, and just do and play the way we have been the past few games. They've just been playing really well with a lot of heart. They've been buying into what the coaches have been teaching all year. We just got to come out, and our defense has just got to play tough and get to the ball.
Jared Jacobson, he has thrown for 31 touchdowns. He's run for 12 more. This is an offense, Mike, that is averaging 41 points a game. The St. Thomas More defense, though, only giving up 11 points a game.
And Jared is the younger brother of Nate Jacobson, who set so many records while he was at St. Thomas More. He has really done a great job of growing into that leadership position as well for this squad.
Well, with Jared, though, he's playing in a little bit of pain because he does have a sprained shoulder. It has affected him not too much, but you know what, Milbank gets some hits on him, and certainly could play a big part of the game as well.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups for this afternoon for the St. Thomas More, as you get a good look at the quarterback. There's the offensive starters, being brought to you by Mid-Continent Communications. The offensive line, not very big, but they are very, very effective when it comes to their blocking schemes. Johnson, Sudo, Schmidt, Halverson, and Johnson.
Not very often you see 160-pound linemen.
Not in 11A, you don't.
No, not at all.
But again, that all comes down to techniques. Meanwhile, the skill players, Jared Jacobson, Parker Sullivan, who, by the way, is no relation to Wayne Sullivan. Wayne does have a son on the team, but he's a freshman who doesn't see much time. Tyler Richardson, Mike Reagan, Nick Feast, and Connor Casey. So it is an experienced set of skill players for St. Thomas More.
They're 10-1. Trying to get their first state title. And when we come back, we'll take a look at the Milbank Bulldogs. Oh, first defensively for St. Thomas More, Jacob Johnson with Vincent, Brewster, and Hollabaugh.
And of course, this brought to you by Mid-Continent Communications. And again, they are a little bit bigger up front on their defensive line than their offensive line. Linebackers very active: Richardson, Plennis, Scher, Johnson, Reagan, Sullivan, and Casey. Folks may recognize one more note about Parker Sullivan. He was a terrific player for Rapid City Post 22, who picked up the American Legion title again this season. So there you go with the defensive starters.
Yeah, and Reagan, Casey, and Sullivan, 10 interceptions among those three, going up against the Milbank offense. And we'll learn more about the Bulldogs of Milbank when we come back, as we're getting ready for the 11A championship in South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Dakota Bank, and by Mid-Continent Communications.
Three days of high school football here in South Dakota Public Broadcasting culminates in the 11AA Championship Saturday night, but we'll kick things off with the 11A Championship featuring Milbank and St. Thomas More.
And a reminder that if you have relatives across the country, have them log on to sdpb.org. It's always fascinating, the folks who log on from around the country and around the world to watch their hometown teams play high school football.
Milbank did not start off very well on the season. In fact, they were 1-3 to start out the season, and wound up 8-3 and getting to the Dome. Head coach Jeremy Tostenson, he's in his 8th year for the Bulldogs. They beat Sisseton the very first game of the season, and then had to beat Sisseton to get to the Dome. There's a nice shot of Jeremy, and they're located up in northeast South Dakota.
The Bulldogs with enrollment at 239, maroon and Vegas gold. And they really do, you know, people talk about St. Thomas More and their fancy uniforms, which really look nice, but Milbank just with that classic look that goes all the way back to the days of Coach Greeno up there in the 60s. They defeated Sisseton. Then you said they got handled by West Central. They lost to a very good Roncalli team. They lost to Groton area. But again, at that point in time, they were suffering from some injuries. They used that open week to their advantage, came out, made some adjustments, and then got Redfield Dolan, Britton Hecla, Duell, and then Webster to wrap up the season. In the first round, they handled the defending state champs, the Del Rapids Couriers, 35-6. They came back and defeated Sisseton after Sisseton had pulled the upset of West Central, and then they picked up the ticket to the Dome by hosting Todd County the other afternoon and picking up the victory there.
Let's hear from the head coach of the Milbank Bulldogs, Jeremy Tostenson.
I'm with Jeremy Tostenson, head coach of the Milbank Bulldogs. Coach, in the semifinals, your team pulled off a pretty impressive win over Todd County. Is your team peaking at the right time of the season?
Yeah, I think halfway through the season we kind of got on a roll, and we were a big stretch of games during the first half of our schedule with some tough teams. We were kind of dinged up, but by mid-season we kind of got everybody back and kind of found out, team kind of come together and found out what we could do and do well, and with the playoffs now we've just been fortunate to play them all at home, and we're playing pretty well right now.
Now you're playing the #1 seed, St. Thomas More. On paper, it looks fairly even. What do you think about the matchup, and what do you know about the Cavaliers?
Well, we're pretty worried. They've got a lot of weapons on offense. They spread things out. They're very fast. Defensively, they got a couple inside linebackers that are extremely physical, and it's going to take every ounce of effort that we have. Hopefully, stay in the ball game.
Now you're making a return trip from 2005 when you played in the Dakota Dome. Does it make it a little bit easier going back, having played a game in the finals?
I think it does a little bit. The same coaching staff, so that helps. You can know what to expect. A lot of interviews and that sort of thing that you're not really accustomed to, but you understand kind of a little bit, and you kind of can relay that to the kids, and it helps a little bit.
How about the community? It seems like they're shutting school down on Thursday. Couldn't find enough teachers to sub in. Going to be a pretty wild atmosphere down the Dakota Dome. Yeah,
it's really exciting. You know, with our band going to be down there playing, and us going down there and play, and it's kind of a neat deal. It doesn't happen every year, and with shutting down the school, and hopefully get so much of student body as we can get down there, and it'll be an exciting atmosphere to be a part of.
Sounds good, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Jeremy Tossison with the Milbank Bulldogs.
8th year with the Bulldogs. And he's put together a pretty good Milbank run here in the stretch of the season. They have a big front line, Mike, a team that has rushed for, let's see here, 1,900 yards, and they passed for 1,600 yards.
Yeah, and it really is going to come down, as you mentioned in our very first segment today, Craig, it's going to come down to the line of, especially offensively, for the Milbank Bulldogs. Take a look at that size. Bill St. Martin, 6'3", 285 at the center. Jeff Trapp and Adam Zemlicka are the tackles. Dylan Dwyer and Matt Steffen are the guards. Matt with just a sophomore, otherwise dominated by seniors. And, of course, the starting lineup being brought to you by Sanford Health, improving the human condition. At quarterback, Nick Mears. The tight end is Kyle Cundy, who had been the quarterback up until a year ago, and they moved him to tight end to give Nick Mears the opportunity to play. Some seniors wouldn't have looked happily on that. Kyle Cundy grabbed the opportunity to become an outstanding receiver and has really been one of the leaders on the team. Tanner Folk, Chance Snyder, and Brian Drott are the rest of the skill players for the Milbank Bulldogs. Meanwhile, defensively, Cundy, Weber, Larson, and Nelson, again, good size, as they've got Cundy, the tight end, at a defensive end on that side of the ball. Meanwhile, the linebackers and defensive backs brought to you by Sanford Health. There you see Mike Robinson, Nick Mears, Chance Snyder, Tanner Folk, Dylan Dwyer, Jeff Trapp, and Logan Lambrechts, and they will go with just the 3 defensive backs, but those 3 defensive backs, Craig, have been very, very effective. Mike Robinson, by the way, against Del Rapids, had a couple of interceptions, a couple of fumble recoveries last week. He took an interception back, so they do have great defenders in that defensive backfield, and again, very, very large and active linebackers.
And it's a defense that's been giving up about 200 yards of offense per game. They got a good one they got to go up against, though, today with the St. Thomas More Cavaliers.
Yeah, and again, a lot of those yards came early in the year when they were going through the tough part of their schedule. They certainly have tightened things up defensively, again, including completely shutting down a very solid offensive team from Del Rapids, and of course picking up the win over Sisseton as well, after Sisseton had gone for over 700 yards against West Central.
Oh, man.
As 11A, can you ever remember a year like this? We've seen upsets before, but this year it was just fun left and right, and just a delight from beginning to end when it came to the 11A playoffs. And so with that in mind, you know, once you got to the Dome, I think that anything could happen, and I'm anticipating a really, really entertaining game this afternoon.
All right, more on the way as the 11A championship coming up in a few minutes here on South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Sanford Health, and by Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Dakota.
Welcome back to the Dakota Dome in Vermillion. I'm Craig Maddock from Sioux Falls Sports Radio, KWSN, and Mike Henriksen from SportsMax Radio, and on South Dakota Public Broadcasting, SportsMax Presents.
Yeah, very fun program. I'd like to thank the viewers that tuned in last night. That was great fun. Also, we're being joined on the broadcast this weekend by a couple of folks from South Dakota Public Broadcasting, Steve Toom and Gary Ellenbolt. And as a matter of fact, Steve Toom helping us out during this game. Steve, down on the sideline.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. And once again this year, members of the South Dakota Army National Guard will be bringing the game ball onto the field after the national anthem and when the captains get together. And they're going to do it in style. They've done this in the past. It's a special Humvee. It's actually a retired military vehicle. It's not one of the commercial ones. It's built to military specs. Of course, they've modified it a bit for promotional uses over the years. And we'll have 3 members of the Army National Guard. Sergeant Trevor Gates will be the driver, and then Staff Sergeant Sean Rogers and Staff Sergeant Matt Hansen. They'll be coming onto the field, and they will present the game ball to the officials when the captains meet right after the national anthem. And it's certainly an eye-catching vehicle, no doubt about it.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. As we come back here, a nice shot of St. Thomas More.
And while he was talking about the National Guard, we just want to thank the National Guard. The folks do a great job down here. They actually host the hospitality room for media and workers for the weekend. And again, since yesterday was Veterans Day, oftentimes we have Veterans Day while we are playing football, but that's not the case. We want to wish a belated happy Veterans Day to everyone, and thank the veterans for everything that they have done and continue to do for us. We certainly appreciate all of their efforts, young and old. So,
yep, Milbank and St. Thomas More, 2 teams, Mike, that come from some pretty good conferences.
You bet.
You got St. Thomas More in that Black Hills Conference, and then how about that Northeast Conference? Milbank is in. There have been a number of teams in that Northeast Conference that have been in the Dome, with Aberdeen, Roncalli, in Britain, Webster, Clark back in 2002.
Yep.
It's a good conference.
They have been in the Dome just about every single year that there's been a championship game in either A or B. And yeah, that Northeastern Conference. I used to say that the Central Valley Conference back in the 90s was the best conference down around the Sioux Falls area, but to me the best football conference in the state is the Northeast Conference from a competitive standpoint, year in and year out.
Starting lineups and the kickoff next, the 11A championship in South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Dakota Bank, and by Mid-Continent Communications.
We're glad to have you with us. The 11A High School Championship of South Dakota. The Milbank Bulldogs and the St. Thomas More Cavaliers. Let's meet the teams. Here's our public address announcer here in the Dome, our good friend Greg Merrigan.
On behalf of the South Dakota High School Activities Association, along with its corporate partners, Sanford Health, First Premier Bank, and Premier Bank Card, Farmers Union Insurance, and Billion Automotive, we welcome you to Vermillion for the 2009 South Dakota State Class 11A Football Championship game. We remind everyone that good sportsmanship on the part of coaches, players, and spectators is crucial to the future of athletics at all levels. The South Dakota High School Activities Association supports the need for proper behavior on the part of everyone in athletics. Be a sport and support good sportsmanship during the football championship games. At this time, let's meet the cheerleaders for both teams. First, for St. Thomas More, Alexis Nowotny, April Rippenga, Megan Raposa, Ashley Holbrook, Kayla Vetch, Cecily Skelskog, and Natalie Johnson. The cheerleaders for Milbank, Mary Leonard, Taylor Hook, Lachey Quaid, Aspen Hopkins, Savannah Erickson, Brianna Bone, Alyssa Lindgren, and Lindsay Mosier. And now let's meet the starting lineups in this 11A championship game. First, the offensive unit for St. Thomas More. At running back, number 1, Parker Sullivan. At wide receiver, number 6, Mike Reagan. At wide receiver, number 7, Nick Fees. At quarterback, number 10, Jared Jacobson. At running back, number 19, Connor Casey. At running back, number 27, Tyler Richardson. At right tackle, number 50, Nolan Johnson. At left tackle, number 57, Chris Sudo. At center, number 62, Austin Schmidt. At right guard, number 63, Sam Halverson. And at left guard, number 64, Jacob Johnson. The Cavaliers are coached by Wayne Sullivan. And now let's meet the starting defensive lineup for the Milbank Bulldogs. At defensive end, number 7, Kyle Cundy. At defensive end, number 21, John Weber. At defensive tackle, number 50, Evan Larson. At defensive tackle, number 52, Isaac Nelson. At linebacker, number 25, Logan Lambrix. At linebacker, number 56, Jeff Trapp. At linebacker, number 51, Dylan Dwyer. At linebacker, number 11, Tanner Folk. At cornerback, number 20, Chance Snyder. At cornerback, number 15, Nick Mears. And at safety, number 10, Mike Robinson. The Bulldogs are coached by Jeremy Tostenson. And now let's meet the officials for this 11A championship game. The referee is Steve Bolger of Sioux Falls. The umpire, Al Weir of Sioux Falls. The linesman, Tom Peniston of Sioux Falls. The line judge, Ron Lamberty of Sioux Falls. And the back judge, Scott Hirsch of Sioux Falls. And ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand and honor America by joining in the singing of our national anthem as it is played by the Milbank High School Band under the direction of Susan Carrolls. We would remind all in attendance that proper respect is to remove your cap or hat, face the flag, and stand at attention with your right hand over your heart.
Mike, Milbank, St. Thomas More, they both like to throw the ball a lot. They've thrown a lot of touchdown passes this year. And, of course, want to get the running game going as well. Let's go back to Greg Merrigan.
And a ceremonial coin for excellence for the championship game coin flip. The soldiers of the South Dakota Army National Guard salute today's players, coaches, and fans for exemplifying excellence in high school activities.
St. Thomas More will receive at this end.
Mike, something is going to have to give. But like I mentioned before, both teams like to throw the ball a lot, and they can establish the ground game. So I think it's going to come to the defense and offensive lines on this one.
Yeah, not much question. It's going to be a size of that offensive line for Milbank against the speed and quickness of St. Thomas More. But I look for a very entertaining game this afternoon.
St. Thomas More will get the ball first. Parker Sullivan, Connor Casey will be back deep. Your kicker, Brian Draught.
By the way, if it comes down to a kicking game, St. Thomas More has a dandy in Kevin Robb. He is a senior.
Milbank has won 7 in a row. St. Thomas More has won 6 in a row. One of these two teams will be champions after this ball game. And the pooch kick to start things off. Good coverage by Milbank.
Still not bad field position to start, though, for St. Thomas More. Again, Wayne Sullivan talked about it in the pregame. They have to take care of the football. I believe it was against West Central a couple of years back. 2 out of their first 3 plays, if memory serves me, they turned the ball over. All of a sudden, they were in a hole. They can't afford to do that against the Milbank Bulldogs. Meanwhile, depth may become an issue in this game as well. Milbank has an awful lot of players going both ways, and they are not real deep.
Switch up here offensively as Jared Jacobson starts things off in the shotgun.
Little modified double wing formation. That's the first of several formations we'll see.
First out, and a nice sack. Evan Larson is there for the Milbank Bulldogs, a loss of 3.
John Weber also came up from his linebacker position. I think that Weber might be the spy this afternoon. In other words, his job is to keep an eye on Jared Jacobson and follow him wherever he goes. We'll keep an eye on that this afternoon.
Jared Jacobson has thrown for 1,600 yards, 31 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
This time the more conventional, tight I formation set.
Second back, that's Parker Sullivan. 1-yard gain. It's going to be 3rd and about 12.
Again, we talked about active linebackers for Milbank. Tanner Folk came up and closed that hole very quickly. So it's a 3rd and long situation for St. Thomas More.
Milbank, they go with that 4-4 defense. We've seen a lot of teams try that 3-4 defense, but Milbank, they like the 4-down lineman. This time they're going there with a 4-3. As Jacobson in trouble, nowhere to throw, and he'll be short of the first down. He's out at the 33. It'll be 4th and 9.
Yeah, and good job of breaking contain that time to get any kind of positive yardage. But boy, the Milbank Bulldogs off to a great start defensively in this first series.
3 and out for St. Thomas More. And Kevin Robb will go back and punt for the Cavaliers.
And Michael Robinson back to receive at about his own 25-yard line.
Kevin Robb averages about 44 yards a punt.
He's got a big leg.
Oh, this is a nice one.
See?
Oh, hang time was beautiful, and it goes out of bounds around the 20. Oh, that was pretty looking.
That was, and he's a terrific kicker as well, field goal kicker. He's got a 50-yarder on the season.
The Milbank offense led by Nick Mears. He's just a sophomore. He's thrown for 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's run for 13.
And we've been told that he's a sophomore that does things that sophomores just can't normally do. Every now and then he'll show his inexperience, but he has been a very special athlete. Reminder, log on sdpb.org. We want to know where around the country, around the state, and around the world you are watching from. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, spread offense in the gun here for Milbank. These two teams very much alike. Quarterback keeper by Mears. Oh, now he'll throw it. 29-yard gain to start the game.
Kyle Cundy made the adjustment on the fly. We talked about it in the pregame. The Cundy had been the quarterback. They switched him over to tight end, and here you see the replay. A great job on the rollout, and then gathering himself and throwing a ball right on the numbers. Cundy coming up with a great catch. A big first play for Milbank.
2 wideouts for Milbank. Right up the middle, though, Colin Porath. Porath, almost 1,000-yard rusher.
He's another one of those players that has improved as the season has gone on. The second half of the season, he was very, very strong, which pretty much mirrored the improvement overall of the Milbank Bulldogs.
St. Thomas More, again, they've got a fairly small defensive front. Going up a big offensive line for Milbank. 2nd down and 6. Porath again. Inside the 45. He's going to be about 1.5 yards shy of the first down.
Porath, 6 foot, 180, and a junior.
You look at that Milbank offensive line, Mike. You know, Zemlicka is 225. Stephen is 235. Bill St. Martin is 285. Dylan Dwyer, 205. Trapp is 205. And you got 2 defensive ends at 170 for St. Thomas More.
Yeah, definitely an advantage for the Bulldogs.
3rd and 2. And Mears, he's going to get the first down. And More to the 32, a gain of 10.
A great pull block that time by Jeffrey Trapp, the 6 foot, 205-pound senior. He came out of his guard position, was leading the way for Mears, and threw a great block that allowed him to pick up that extra yardage and establish another first down.
St. Thomas More coaches telling me before the game that was their big concern of this game, was what that battle is going to be like.
Yep, they're big and physical are the Bulldogs.
Porath off right tackle, gets a first down to the 21. 12 yards for Porath.
And in that particular case, a couple of the defensive backs or linebackers came up and tried to hit Porath instead of wrapping him up, and that allowed him to actually pick up a couple of extra yards on that. Again, nice opening for the Milbank Bulldogs. There you see the hit instead of the wrap up. And he's one of those kids that just falls forward on a regular basis.
St. Thomas More going with that 4-4 defensive style. Porath straight up the middle. Boy, another big gain. That's going to be close to another first down for the Bulldogs.
And Milbank, again, not doing anything fancy, just relying on the big guys up front. Second down and short. You may see a throw to the end zone here. Let's see what Milbank wants to do.
It'll be Cundy, split wide to the right. Snyder and Folk to his left. Up the middle again. Oh, he got stuck right at the line of scrimmage. But after a second effort, Porath is going to be, I think he's going to be shy of the first down, Mike.
Yeah, I think he is. Just a little bit shy on that. Again, second down and short like they had. You thought maybe they would try to toss one into the end zone. Instead, they decide to stay with the power game. That time, a nice job defensively on that left side. I believe it was Jeremiah Brewster that came up with the tackle there.
Well, third and about the length of a football for Milbank. Three wide receivers out, try to spread out that defense. And that is not going to be a first down. Nick Mears trips. In fact, I think he lost about a half a yard.
I believe he did, and that brings up fourth down here. Is this 4-down territory for Jeremy Tossenson? I think it probably is.
Yeah, I think you're right too, Mike. Oh, here comes Brian Draught. He's the kicker. But I don't think he brought the tee with him.
No, they're going for it here. It's a state tournament. You've never won a state title. You've got it down. Your defense did a 3-and-out on their first possession for St. Thomas More. Try to pick up the first down here. Even if you don't get it, it's poor field position for the Cavaliers.
Fourth and about 2.5. Mears will try the quarterback option, and he's going to get the first down.
Again, Nick Mears, just a sophomore, but so athletic. That's why the Bulldogs put him at quarterback this year and moved Cundy out of there. There he shows that athleticism and his elusiveness.
Well, patience here.
Exactly. That's a great point there, Craig. The patience, and he was about to be drugged down, but he is able to make that last move, fall forward, and pick up the first.
It is first and goal for the Bulldogs. Chance Snyder is split wide out, as is Mike Robinson. But they go to Porath up the middle. Just a hard-nosed runner, Colin Porath.
He's ridden down by J.J. Hollabaugh, a sophomore defensive end, but again, not after picking up several yards.
What do you suppose the conversation is among those Milbank linemen? Hey, we're opening holes. We're moving on St. Thomas More.
I can remember
a lot of confidence.
I can remember my son when he played offensive line. They would have their conversations of, okay, it's on us. This is a similar situation for Milbank.
Second and goal from the 4. Here's Porath. Mike, a very impressive first drive for the Bulldogs.
They got started the way they wanted to with the 3-and-out on St. Thomas More's offense, and then they put together the long drive that culminates in 6 points. A perfect start so far for Milbank.
Brian Draught will try the extra point. The hold is good, and the kick is good. 5:34 to go in the first quarter. Milbank 7, St. Thomas More nothing.
An outstanding drive by the Bulldogs as they took their first possession and marched it into the end zone.
St. Thomas More goes 3-and-out. They punt off to Milbank, and Milbank takes it down all the way. Unofficially, I think that was, what, a 70-yard drive?
Yeah, actually back at about the 23-yard line is where they started, so 77 yards.
For Colin Porath, that is his 8th rushing touchdown on the year, as he was just shy of 1,000 yards rushing. this year.
Again, we talked about the fact we've got a little delay here. They are getting some blood off of the field down at about the 10-yard line or so. Want to take an opportunity while we see the staff from USD down there working on that we certainly actually it's a rip in the carpet is what they're working on. We want to thank the folks at USD, Preston Abbott, and all of the staff here in Vermilion for hosting these championship games. They do a great job of it every year, and we certainly appreciate that. The town of Vermilion does a great job of hosting this event as well. There you see the repair crew out there working on the carpet.
Coming up tonight, the 11B Championship, Tri-Valley and Winner, with our coverage beginning 7 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock Central, 6 Mountain.
Should be a dandy. 2 unbeatens going at it, and that 11B was just as good this year from top to bottom as you'll ever find.
Seven 0 Milbank with the lead and ready to kick off. 5:34 to go here in the first quarter. Another squib kick. Oh, that deflects off one of the front linemen, but that one is picked up by Parker Sullivan. To the 36. And St. Thomas More now with their second possession of the game.
Yeah, and again, good field position to start this drive. Last time, though, minus yardage on their opening, or actually it picked up a yard or two, I guess, on their opening possession overall. Well, Parker Sullivan, however, did not see the football in their last drive. I bet they rectify that pretty quickly here.
A couple of squib kicks by Milbank.
Yeah, they
some respect to the back guys.
Don't want to kick it deep.
Jared Jacobson under center to start off. Trips.
So I think this is our third different offensive set that we've seen. There's the pass to Sullivan.
And he got it. And it's going to be a 5-yard gain to Parker. 28th reception on the year. The leading receiver for St. Thomas More is Connor Casey. 33 receptions. But Parker Sullivan is right behind him. Second down and 5 for the Cavaliers. And then they bring Trips to the right. Quarterback keeper by Jacobson, and he's going to be shy of the first down by a couple.
But again, nice job by Tommy Moore coming out with just a couple of positive plays. Now you put yourself in third and short situation, much more manageable than what happened on their first possession.
The reason they call it the spread. Spread out that defense so that if you do run the ball, you can find some sort of a seam and get a nice gain. Sullivan wide at the top of your screen. Trips to the bottom. Jacobson wants to keep it himself. Oh, he is hit big time by Dylan Dwyer of Milbank. Short of the first down. Oh, my.
What a great read by Dwyer. He recognized the quarterback draw the whole way and stayed right on Jacobson. Take a look at Dwyer. He is in the right spot, shooting the gap on the right side, and comes up with the tackle.
Fourth down, and St. Thomas More is going to go for it.
They're coming out.
Oh, here comes the punter, Kevin Robb, last one out on the field. Robinson back deep for the Bulldogs.
Jared Jacobson, the up man.
Another good kick towards the sideline. Takes a St. Thomas More bounce and out at about the 17. Break on the way as Milbank with the lead over St. Thomas More on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Welcome back to the Dakota Dome in Vermilion. It's the 11A High School Football Championship. I'm Craig Maddock from Sioux Falls Sports Radio, KWSN, along with Mike Henriksen of Sportsmax Radio.
A pair of 3 and outs to start for St. Thomas More. Milbank, again, with not great field position to start here, but it certainly didn't affect them the last time.
Yeah, that bye week for Milbank must have been a lifesaver for them, because they were not playing good football at all. They were 1-3. I mean, they got drubbed by West Central and close games with Roncalli and Groton. But since that break, they've won every game.
Yeah, and they really did a great job. That came at the right time. They had some injury issues they were dealing with at the time and more.
Nick Mears is going to get 11 yards on the carry. If you're St. Thomas More, you got to start making some of those stops.
Yeah, and right now Milbank is beating them to the outside. I did not think that would be the case. It hasn't surprised me that Milbank has had the power up the middle and has done so well between the tackles. But so far, the outside game is working for Milbank as well. They're out quick, and the St. Thomas More defenders.
10-yard gain. It is a first down for Milbank. Colin Porath, the running back, right behind Nick Mears. First penalty of the game.
Yep.
I think it's going to be false start.
Snap infraction against White. 5 yards. First down.
So there you go. It is the first penalty of the game. 5 yards against Milbank.
Yeah, it was the 11A championship last year, wasn't it? Did we have the 11-mans last year on Thursday?
No, it was Friday.
We had the 9-mans last year? Boy.
9-mans on Thursday.
These are starting to roll way too often.
I understand. Yep. No, because I remember Del Rapids played on Friday night, and I wasn't here helping with the broadcast. That's how I remember that.
I like the format, though.
I do, too.
First down and 15. Mears is in trouble, and down it goes. About a 15-yard sack. That's what St. Thomas More needed badly.
That time they sold out their defense and came with the all-out blitz on Mears. Mears is just a sophomore. As we said, there are times he makes great plays that you don't expect a sophomore to make. That time he was not decisive enough to get rid of that football when he saw the pressure coming, and ends up taking the huge loss.
St. Thomas More crowd on its feet, trying to make some noise. Porath goes straight up the middle. Still going to be well short, only a gain of about 4. And it's going to be 3rd and about 25.
I believe they need to get just outside of Gayville to pick up this first down.
Milbank hasn't been here in 4 years. They won it all, though, back in 1989. They beat, I'm sorry,
they lost.
They lost to Winter that year. I saw Winter in my head here. Winter, who plays tonight, did beat St. Thomas More this year. Here's Mears, the quarterback keeper. Right into the hands of the Milbank wideout. That is Robinson. But it's still going to be well short of the first down.
Yeah, it was a fortunate bounce. It's going to bring up a 4th down and about 5 or so. Let's see where they end up marking the ball.
They're right at the 34.
Yep.
4th and 5.
They will rule that you could advance that. You'll see the replay. The ball bounces out, and
Robinson in the right place at the right time.
But the first punt of the day for Milbank.
Nick Mears is the punter. Line drive kick, and boy, that takes a Milbank bounce. It'll be spotted at the 27.
So the worst starting field position, actually, that St. Thomas More has had so far in this quarter. But they have not been able to do anything offensively yet to pick up a first down.
Well, St. Thomas More came in with a nice defensive stop on Milbank with the big sack.
They definitely needed that. Stem some of that momentum. Good look at Jeremy Tossinson. Jeremy looks worlds different than he did in 2005. Looks better.
Jared Jacobson under center for the Cavaliers. They bring trips to the right. And the quick pass to Parker Sullivan is going to get a first down and out of bounds at the 38.
We talked about it, that they had not gotten him that ball in the first series at all. They got him right away in the first play of the last series. That's why you want the ball in Parker Sullivan's hands. He can make plays. That was nothing fancy. Just get him the ball, let him go one-on-one, and he won that particular battle.
Well, he stretched out and did get the first down. Give him 10 yards on the catch. His second catch of the game. Final seconds of the first quarter. Intercepted. John Weber. And Weber, one man to beat, gets to the 10. Oh, John Weber with his first interception of the year.
Perfectly read, perfectly jumped by John Weber, and that momentum may be heading back to Milbank when we come back for the second period.
Weber with the interception and takes it back another 20 yards. That's the end of the first quarter. 7-0 Milbank on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. In Vermillion, day one of South Dakota High School Football Championships. The 11B Championship is tonight. The 3 9-man classes tomorrow. The 11AA Championship on Saturday night. John Weber did exactly what defensive ends are taught to do when there's a pass. You want to get your hands up, try to block the pass, and he was able to intercept it.
Yeah, he played that just perfectly. Recognized that the last couple of times that they had gone out to Sullivan, it had gone right over his head. That time he made the adjustment, got up, and set up Milbank in great field position.
1st and 10 from the 11. Nick Mears will keep it himself. Turns the corner. About a 9-yard gain for Nick Mears.
And what a great block by Brian Drott. That's the reason that Mears was able to get outside. Brian came down and crashed on that linebacker and absolutely opened up that left end, allowing Mears to pick up the yardage.
It has gotten a little quiet on the St. Thomas More side. Second and 2. Mears waiting and waiting. What a great defensive spot by Corey Shear. And a flag on the play. Shear coming in from that linebacking spot and with authority takes down Nick Mears.
And I think that Nick Mears saw the penalty actually happening. I believe that that is going to be a hold on Milbank. It is.
Ten-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. It would bring up 2nd down and about 12.
Block in the back on White. Penalties declined.
Oh, penalty is declined. So it's going to be 2nd down and 2. There's a loss to play. It was a loss on the play, so it's back down to the 10.
Yep. So 3rd down. Yeah, they signaled holding initially, but it was a block in the back there. That time it was one of the wide receivers coming in, trying to seal off that right side, the same as Drott had done on the previous play.
It's going to be 3rd down and 8 from the 10. Snyder split wide to the top of the screen. Brian Drott, bottom of the screen as Mears in the gun. There's the pass. Colin Porath into the end zone easily for Milbank. For Nick Mears, his 21st touchdown pass on the season, and for Colin Porath, his first receiving touchdown of the year.
And Craig, take a look. An over-pursuing defense is what this play is going to work against the best, and no one puts a hand on Porath. But again, as you mentioned, he hadn't caught a touchdown all season long. So he's not one that you're keeping an eye on down in the red zone.
Draw it with the extra point try, and this one is between the pipes. 14-0 Milbank. We knew that this one was going to be a wild one. We're seeing both teams using the pass, using the run.
Right.
But right now, Milbank taking advantage of the interception.
Yeah, but right now only one team being successful at it. With St. Thomas More only with one first down through the early going, and that was on one play that they were able to get the ball to Parker Sullivan, and he picked up a first down. Next play, they threw an interception. So Milbank is on top, 14-0. A reminder, several ways to follow the action this weekend, sdpb.org. But you can also go on Facebook. That's right, Facebook. We're providing frequent updates to all South Dakota high school events on Facebook. sdpb.org. Look for information and links in the Spotlight section at the top of the page. And you can also Twitter, and I'd try to explain that, but I don't have the slightest idea how it works. We're just going to be honest with you.
It does work.
Facebook, I'm down with.
That's right.
But I'm still not tweeting. And I don't anticipate myself becoming a tweeter.
Mike still has a rotary phone in his house.
Yeah, but we got it farther down the pole than it used to be.
Here's Drought ready to kick it off for Milbank. Boy, a lot of respect. He kicks it out of bounds.
Yeah, that was, he shanked that one. That's going to give.
That was a missile going out of bounds.
Yeah, they're going to give St. Thomas More the ball. Actually, that will be ahead of the 35. Normally you get it on the 35-yard line if you kick it out of bounds, but that one went out of bounds before the 35.
Yeah, they're going to spot her at the 40. Here's the shot again, and that one, boink. Yeah, that one went right off his foot. That just tells you the respect they have for Parker Sullivan and Connor Casey back deep for St. Thomas.
Kick out of bounds. Re-kick 5 yards back.
Oh, okay.
What?
I didn't know they had to re-kick. I thought they could take it out of bounds, take it right from there.
Unless Wayne Sullivan is wanting to get the ball in the hands of his returners. Huh.
So Brian Trott will try it again.
Well, let's see where he ends up kicking this one.
Milbank will re-kick it to 35-yard line.
Back deep, Parker Sullivan, Connor Casey. 14-0. Bulldogs with the lead over the Cavaliers, but it's very early second quarter.
Field position has not been an issue for St. Thomas More. Execution on their offense has.
That's loose ball. Loose ball. Milbank's got it. I believe that was recovered by John Weber.
I believe
it was.
Or is it 40? Is it maybe Skylar Mount?
Takes that big hop. There's the touch by the Cavaliers.
Kick is recovered by number 35.
35, you were right. Blaine Shell actually is who they're going to credit that with.
Blaine Shell. Perfect timing.
Wow.
This is almost like St. Thomas More feeling like you've been kicked in the gut here.
Yeah, but some of it has been self-induced.
1st and 10 Milbank at the St. Thomas More 42. Nick Mears gives to Porath, and this one's going to come back to there, Mike.
Yep.
Laundry on the field.
Holding penalty in the middle of the field there, so this will be the 3rd penalty on Milbank. This time he signaled holding. Let's hope that's what he announces.
Holding.
It is.
10 yards from the flag. Still first down.
St. Thomas More defense on the season, only giving up 11 points a game.
Yeah,
and Milbank has struck with their very first drive of the game. They went 75 yards for a touchdown, and then interception by John Weber. resulting in a 10-yard touchdown pass from Mears to Porath.
Great field position to start, but now this penalty hurts them after the onside kick that they recovered. But Porath running hard.
And out of bounds at the 34. 18 yards on that run.
You know, I got to tell you, Craig, I had the chance to see Bellefouche play earlier this year, and they were a very physical, hard football team to defend against. I saw them in that game against West Central, where they led West Central actually at halftime. St. Thomas More handled them twice this year, but I got to tell you, they sure don't match up physically with the Bellefouche Broncs. Bellefouche was a hard physical team, and when I say physically, I mean nasty. They aren't hitting folks. They aren't wrapping up, and that's really coming back to bite them right now.
2nd down and 3, and Mears looking just for a seam, and he finds it, gets the first down. Oh, and then he gets a big hit by Corey Shear. But he's going to get the first down.
But see, if we could see that play again, take a look at how many guys are trying to hit him with their shoulder pads rather than coming in and actually wrapping up on him. Take a look. There's the hit. There's a hit. There's a bump. There's a bump. And then at the end, they finally get one in. But you got to get in and wrap up with both arms. Right now, St. Thomas More just isn't doing that.
1st and 10 for Milbank. 14-0, the Bulldogs with the lead. They'll send Snyder out to the left. Brian Drott at the bottom of your screen. And Mears gets it away. It is caught by Snyder down at the 5.
He went one-on-one with Parker Sullivan, and he out-muscled him for the football. What a catch.
And Nick Mears is drilled as soon as he let go of the ball.
They came on the blitz that time, but Mears, though just a sophomore, stood in, knew he had his man one-on-one, delivered the ball in the perfect spot, and a 1st and goal for Milbank, and Milbank is threatening to put this one away early.
1st and goal from the 5. That was a heck of a catch. I mean,
Wonderful
Parker
catch.
Sullivan is there.
Yep, absolutely.
Just got out-muscled that time by Snyder. Back in the gun. Mears wants to throw. He does. Got it. Tanner Folk. Touchdown. Uh-oh, watch out, Mike. Oh, this one's coming back. No, it's not.
Roughing the passer against St. Thomas More.
That'll be implemented on the kickoff. Tanner Folk, his 4th touchdown catch of the year. And for Nick Mears, he's having a monster.
Personal foul, roughing the passer on blue. Penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
He's having a monster 11A tournament.
And just take a look, though, at the patience of Mears. That's what's so impressive there, is the fact that he waits and he waits and he waits, and then he finally gets rid of that football.
20-0. Brian Drott will try the extra point. Chance Snyder is the holder. Make it a 3-touchdown game. And the kick is, ooh, that one is good.
Just got it inside there, didn't he?
21-0. Milbank leading St. Thomas More in the 11A championships.
And what a start for the Milbank Bulldogs. They have come out and done everything exactly the way that Jeremy Tossenson and his staff wanted to get things done in the early going. They've had the long sustained drive. They took advantage of a turnover to put 6 points on the board. They took advantage of an onside kick that ending up in their hands, which gave them short field. And Craig, with the fact that roughing the passer penalty is enforced here, the Milbank Bulldogs have not shown that they're going to kick it to Connor or Sullivan at all. Look for another onside kick right here. They're kicking off in St. Thomas More territory at the St. Thomas More 45-yard line. You might as well try an onside kick here.
It was done to perfection, and they got a little help, though, by one of the up men of St. Thomas More. And they're kind of looking like it could be an onside kick, playing it that way.
Absolutely. They're not going to drill this into the end zone. Unless they figure that they'll take their chances with the ball going to the 20-yard line. That would be the worst starting field position for St. Thomas More so far.
And this one gets that nice high bounce. Connor Casey takes it, looking for some room to run. Flag is down, has some blockers. Here he comes. One man to beat. Nice open field tackle.
But it's coming back.
Tackle made by Logan Lambrex.
And there's a reason that they don't want to kick it to Connor or to Casey and to Sullivan, but which we saw right there. But this is coming back. That's a block in the back.
Ouch.
As he was trying to reverse field, this is going to be inside the 10-yard line to start. Over on that far side, there it goes. That's where the flag came in.
Block in the back on Black. 10 yards from the flag, first down.
Oh, that hurts. That one hurts. If you're Wayne Sullivan, you're just telling your kids, all right, let's get a good drive going, get some positive yardage. Oh, that's not what he's saying right now, but
right.
But you got to think, you're down 3 scores, but still, a lot of play yet in this ball game.
Plenty of time and
time to get the offense moving.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. There have been times where St. Thomas More got down to the Dome and they got a late start. Well, they got a late start again today, but you better get it moving here soon, because otherwise Milbank, they're just hitting on all cylinders. And St. Thomas More can certainly score in bunches, but they need to pick up 2 first downs in a row here before they can mount their comeback.
Jacobson on the keep for about 1.5 yards. Again, Jacobson has thrown for more than 1,600 yards. He's rushed for over 700 yards.
Very versatile, an outstanding player during the course of the season and the last couple of years as the starting quarterback for the Cavaliers, but hasn't been able to get much done in the early going.
Back in the gun. Wants to throw it down the sideline. Oh, wide open and out of bounds. Connor Casey. What a great fake by Jared Jacobson.
Perfect fake. Great execution by St. Thomas More. That's the team that we expected to see coming in this afternoon. That's the first flash that they have shown. He sells it so effectively going up towards the line and then pulls up and hits Casey down the sideline. Just led him a little bit too far to the outside, or Connor would have been gone.
A lot more breathing room for the Cavaliers. 1st and 10 from their own 39.
But again, only their 2nd first down of the afternoon.
As they go on the eye, here is Parker Sullivan, and Sullivan with a couple of yards.
Yeah, they went back to Sullivan as an eye back that time rather than having him split out wide. Jacobson, Sullivan, and Casey have been their big offensive players throughout the year. That's who you have to get the ball to.
Was a gain of 3, 2nd down 7. Setting up in the eye. Overload on the right side. But Jacobson wants to throw. Oh, this one is going to be caught at the 30. That is Mike Reagan. 2 big plays for St. Thomas More on this drive.
That is coming back.
Uh-oh, flag at midfield. Boy, Reagan was able to get that one. He fought for that one, underthrown a little bit. Ooh,
illegal receiver downfield. And again, with the time that took to develop, I thought that might be the case, but again, good throw and a great catch out there by Reagan.
Ineligible downfield on Black. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Nick Mears on the tackle on Mike Regan.
That is one unhappy head coach right there. They finally get some momentum rolling.
It'll be 2nd down and 12 for St. Thomas More. St. Thomas More can strike at any time.
Oh, no question about it. But they have to eliminate their own mistakes.
Little double wing formation here. And the throw, and that one is almost intercepted. No, incomplete. That was almost caught by Mike Robinson.
Yeah, Michael had the one-on-one coverage out there. Good job. As he had Parker Sullivan all on his own, he comes in and tips it away. Almost came up with the interception. That time Jacobson was looking at Sullivan all the way. There was no other option for him there. That's who he was throwing the ball to.
3rd down, 13. Same formation from the last play. Jacobson with time to throw, and this one is overthrown. And wanted to go to Parker Sullivan, but overthrew it. Mike Robinson was there in the coverage for the Bulldogs.
Yep, Chance Snyder was also back there as well, but after the one big play that was good, the second big play that came back because of a penalty, and now St. Thomas More going to have to give up the ball to the Bulldogs once again.
Kevin Robb, 44-yard average. I think he's a little longer than that today. He's had some dynamite kicks. His long for the year is 61. Another good kick. Robinson, though, from the 30, decides to go upfield. If he would have maybe gone to the outside, I think he may have had some blockers, but pretty good run. That is a Chance Snyder with the run.
I tell you what, I love it when a punt returner doesn't dance, doesn't wait around, doesn't hang around, just takes the ball, went straight up the middle, and he got it all the way back to the 50-yard line, actually the 49 inside. As you'll see, the nice punt. Again, Rob doesn't have a whole lot of motion. He just gets a lot of foot into it.
Yeah, it was Robinson. I thought it was Robinson.
Or, excuse me, yep. And Robinson comes right up the middle. You're right. If he makes one more cut to the outside, he picks up some blockers. But still, great field position for the Bulldogs.
Porath up the middle. 7 yards for Collin.
Craig, that offensive line for Milbank we said was the key to the game, and so far they're winning. I mean, it's just that simple. The rushing attempts, 18 for 97 yards so far here in the early going for Milbank. Meanwhile, Thomas More has 7 carries for 9 yards.
Drop, split wide at the top of the screen. Kyle Cundy and Snyder at the bottom of the screen. They want to run it. Give it to Porath. He's got a first down easily, and they have run that play a number of times, just straight up the middle, just dive play, and Porath, a strong runner, he's going to get 10 yards on that carry.
When you're picking up yardage behind the big guys up front, no need to go away from that. Plus, plays like that just keep the clock rolling. They'll get the clock started again once the chains are set, but it keeps the clock rolling. It keeps the St. Thomas More offense off of the field. If you're able to punch it in here, Craig, you're in great position if you're the Milbank Bulldogs.
1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Again, handoff to Porath, and 4 yards for Colin Porath.
That'll take him up to 80 yards on the day. Jeremy Tossenson, the head coach of the Milbank Bulldogs, also one of those guys who is very involved in the history of the game here in South Dakota. He's a guy who has done a great job of holding on to the Milbank records through the years and compiling records from other teams around his area and around the state. Really nice to see that in a young coach, that they embrace the history of the game as much as he has.
2nd and 6. Porath again. He's going to be short. Just short of the first down, I believe.
But again, a nice 5-yard gain, and that clock continues to roll as we now go under 6 minutes here in the first half.
I was kidding Jeremy before the game. I says, so you got this new wide receiver playing for you today, Kalen DeBoer. Kalen, of course, the head coach of the University of Sioux Falls, and he went to school at Milbank. In fact, Tostenson and DeBoer played together.
Yep.
on that Milbank squad when they were at Milbank. So, but no, Kalen DeBoer not a wide receiver today for the Bulldogs. 3rd and short for Milbank. Porath gets the first down and then just inside the 20.
And who do you go behind? You go behind the center. Your big man.
Bill St.
Martin, 6'3", 285, opens up the hole. And again, it has been the offensive line of Milbank that has won this first half for the Bulldogs.
22 rushing plays, 4 pass plays for Milbank.
They are 4 for 4 throwing the ball, including a touchdown. But, yep, his ground game has been pretty impressive. 123 yards on the ground.
Porath again. Nice spin move and dives to the 15. Gain of 5.
When people talk about a guy who is always running downhill, that was a prime example. The analogy being that when you are running downhill, you are going to fall forward. Well, that's exactly what Porath has done over the last half of the season and what he's done in this game this afternoon. Again, he gets hit in the backfield. He doesn't get wrapped up in the backfield. He gets hit, though, and spins and falls forward for that 4-yard gain.
4.5 minutes to go in the first half. 21-0 Milbank. And they want more. Porath again up the middle. He's going to score. Touchdown. Colin Porath, is that his 2nd rushing touchdown? He caught one.
Yep.
And
that's
his run for 2.
Yep.
And it's 27-0 Milbank. Brian Drott, extra point try. Chance Snyder with the hold, and the kick is good. Boy, the Bulldogs have been pretty strong, as this is the 11A championship on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Today on South Dakota Public Broadcasting, I'm Craig Maddock from Sioux Falls Sports Radio, KWSN, and Mike Henriksen from Sportsmax Radio. Steve Toom from South Dakota Public Broadcasting on the sidelines. Also Gary Ellenbolt of South Dakota Public Broadcasting with us for the 3 days here in Vermilion. And some are very surprised with his score, Mr. H.
So far, kickoffs have been an adventure. Let's watch how this one goes.
Another squib. Oh, that's a loose ball.
You got to grab that ball.
Oh, boy. Oh, now we got little tempers flaring even between the St. Thomas More players. You know, you got to put the chin strap on and, forget about what has happened over the last quarter and a half and get some composure now and get back to playing some football.
And that's the whole thing. You can still be in this ball game, but again, you got to grab the ball right there. And instead, it's still bouncing around. And fortunately, Sullivan was it that picked it up. But what you need to do if you're St. Thomas More is come out, pick up 2 or 3 first downs. You got a little bit of momentum on the last offensive series. That's not going to help. But pick up 2 or 3 first downs and get some momentum back heading into the halftime.
Evan Larson, one of the defensive tackles, in on the stop. There's just no giddy up right now for St. Thomas More. They need something to spark. They need a spark here.
Yeah, they had a couple of nice pass plays on their last drive. One was to Casey. Another one was out to Reagan, but the one for Reagan was called back because of a penalty.
Parker Sullivan split to the near side. Bottom of your screen. Here's Jared Jacobson. And that one's slotted away by Kyle Cundy.
Cundy, 6'4", 180. The tight end, defensive end, comes up with a big-time play. He had Jacobson completely surrounded. And then when Jacobson does go to make the throw, Cundy goes up and knocks it down.
It will be third down. 3rd and 13. And a timeout taken by Milbank. They didn't like what they had seen.
Timeout, Milbank.
Coming up tonight, it is the 11B championship. Tri-Valley trying to go for a three-peat, Mike. The Mustangs, they are undefeated. 11-0, taking on another undefeated team, the Winter Warriors, who first time they've been in Class 11B.
Right. Well, first time in a while. Both teams, though, coming in undefeated. 11B was wide open. All 4 semifinalists were undefeated, and that should be a battle. We are certainly looking forward to that. Also want to remind you that Terry Lawrence and Todd Magnuson, of Caribou Productions take viewers on a tour of South Dakota's natural world. This week, tune in to Nature Adventures as Terry and Todd investigate a rattlesnake that doesn't rattle. Oh, great. That way it can just sneak up on me and scare me even more. Lovely.
But it's not going to bite you.
Oh, I bet it does. Believe me, Craig, when it comes to snakes, they don't have to bite me. I may just drop dead on my own. That's Sunday at 5:30 Central, 4:30 Mountain on SDPB television. Nature Adventures with Todd and Terry has just been a great addition to the lineup here at South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
3rd down and 13 for the Cavaliers. Jacobson in the shotgun. Wants to throw, and that one is incomplete. Fell short. Trying to go to Parker Sullivan.
But again, that brings up 4th down. 3.5 minutes left. Bulldogs with a pair of timeouts left. Craig, they could add to this lead.
Kevin Robb back to punt.
Michael Robinson back to receive this punt. He's done a good job on returns. Milbank is going to have the ball in great field possession.
Returnable. Here is Robinson. You're right, Mike. Good field position for Milbank. Just shy of midfield.
Yep, and 2 timeouts left in their hip pocket.
Total yards, 211 yards for Milbank, 50 for St. Thomas More. Milbank has run 29 plays here in the first half. St. Thomas More has run 16 plays.
And I believe that, 36 or so of those total yards came on one pass?
For St.
Thomas More.
Yep. And St. Thomas More, they want a timeout.
I think they realized the same thing.
Timeout, St. Thomas More.
They need to gather up this defense and make sure that they don't allow another touchdown here before the half.
You can go on the web, not only Facebook and Twitter and all that other stuff, but go to sdpb.org. The discussion board is right there for you to discuss ball games today, or maybe you watched SportsMax Presents last night, wondering when it's going to be on again. Good show last night, by the way, Mike.
Thank you. Very fun. We will next be on coming up in March with 2 programs live from Aberdeen as we bring you the South Dakota High School Boys and Girls Basketball Championships. A reminder also, those of you that are watching online at sdpb.org, we want to hear from you. Where are you watching? We are always amazed and gratified with how many folks South Dakota Public Broadcasting reaches online. We are delighted to be able to bring this to you, especially for those of you that are spread across the country, or if you are overseas serving our country. We are certainly appreciative of your efforts, and if we can help make your day a little better by bringing you some taste to home, we're delighted to do it. sdpb.org. Also a reminder, you can click on Facebook or Twitter to respond.
1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. Porath again up the middle.
Look at that.
Keeps going, and he's going to get 7 yards on that carry. How many times has he carried the ball here in this first half?
I believe that's his 17th carry.
Wow,
Greg.
17 carries in the first half for Colin Porath.
That'll take him to about 113 yards, I believe, if our stats get updated here.
Well, Milbank just saying, we're just going to keep running Colin until St. Thomas More stops him.
Can't blame him at all. Nick Mears is also 4 for 4 throwing the ball. That has all been in a rollout situation, or just about all of them have anyway.
The 11A rushing record for rushing attempts is 32. Jason Lieber of the Tanagers of Vermilion back in 1992. Here's Porath again. He's going to get the first down to the 42 of St. Thomas More. And now for Milbank, they still have 2 timeouts. Clock is running, and now they'll stop the clock
to reset the chains. Or are they going to measure here? Nope, he got the first down. You were correct. I thought he had. They just had to take a closer look at it, and now they'll reset the chains for the new first down.
$12 first downs for Milbank in the first half. St. Thomas More with 2.
Yep. Both of them came on pass plays. One was a 10-yarder to Parker Sullivan. Another was about a 36-yarder or so to Connor Casey.
First and 10 for the Bulldogs. St. Thomas More 43. Here's Porath again to the 41. Gain of 3. Actually, gain of 2.
Clock now becoming an issue.
Porath, by the way, is just a junior.
Right.
6 foot 180. They got a lot of juniors on this
and Mears
starting offense and defense for Milbank.
Mears just a sophomore.
90 seconds to go here in the first half. 28-0 Milbank. Porath again off right tackle. And he's going to be close to a first down. In fact, I think he got it.
That will be his 19th carry, and it will take him up over 120 yards.
If it ain't broke,
nope. The only thing is now you're getting down inside that 35-yard line. Again, the clock is stopped while they set up the chain. Still 2 timeouts left for the Bulldogs. Maybe you take a chance to get it to Cundy here before you get under that 1 minute mark.
Mears is not under center very often. Sets up in the gun, throws to the outside, and caught by Chance Snyder. Breaks 1 tackle, gets the first down, and he's out of bounds at the 20.
Great job by Snyder to get over there to the out of bounds as well to stop that clock. Of course, it would stop anyway with the chains moving, but that time they ran Cundy. A couple of bodies went with Cundy on the outside. They went instead on the inside to Chance Snyder. And Snyder with the nice one-on-one move.
57 seconds to go. You might see Milbank use a timeout if they keep this one in bounds on this play. As Porath, good stop at the line of scrimmage, and here comes a timeout from Milbank.
Good job, St. Thomas More. Read that effectively and cut off the hole. There was no place for Porath to go there.
Well, Milbank will use the timeout.
Milbank.
Still
their
1
second.
Yep, 1 to go here in the half. Lineup tomorrow on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. It's the 9A championship tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Central, 10 Mountain, and then the 9AA championship.
Yep, Avon and Hanson, a couple of folks who are very familiar with the Dakota Dome the last several years.
By the way, they played each other. It was Avon's first game and Hanson's second game of the year. They played up in Sioux Falls. In fact, I saw that game, and Avon won it 30-0.
Meanwhile, it's Emory, Ethan, and Howard in that second game, and then tomorrow night in prime time, the 9B championship, Hitchcock-Tulare, who is undefeated and has been ranked #1, returning to the Dome from a year ago. They take on Del Rapids St. Mary Cardinals.
That might be a track meet. That one there, you've got like 4 athletes with over 1,000 yards rushing.
Right.
That one may be I'm expecting that one to be a wild one tomorrow night.
Well, I'm working the sidelines on that one. Don't expect me to be keeping up with them, moving up and down the sideline with my microphone.
You'll be losing some weight on that one tomorrow.
Believe me.
2nd down and 9 coming up for Milbank, as they lead it 28-0. They will send Brian Drott wide to the top of your screen. Chance Snyder, he's got a couple of catches at the bottom of your screen. Instead, Nick Mears in trouble, and he's going to go down, and now Milbank is going to have to use their last timeout here.
This could be a very, very big series, but they won't have to use the timeout because there's actually a penalty flag on the play.
And it's against Milbank.
Yep. Again, this would be a nice way for St. Thomas More to establish some
illegal formation on Milbank. Penalties declined.
Establish some momentum heading into halftime, because again, you haven't done anything offensively and you haven't really stopped Milbank yet either. But if you are able to come up with the stop, that gives you a positive feel heading into the halftime. Wayne Sullivan and his staff can make some adjustments and actually have something to build on.
3rd down and long. Porath gets to the 20, a gain of 5. It'll bring up 4th and 10. And let's see what Milbank wants to do here. Is the clock running? Still 1 timeout to go.
Well, you'd think maybe they'd just call their timeout and take a chance towards the end zone rather than just let the clock run out entirely. They're going to have to hustle here.
Will they get it off? No, they're going to burn the timeout.
Okay, there you go. Jeremy Tossenson said, wait a minute. We can't carry those timeouts over to the second half. Let's go ahead and make sure that we're running this final play
well, they had
the way we want to.
There. Yeah, the guys lined up on the wrong side. And
yep. But again, huge play here for St. Thomas More. Have to keep them out of the end zone.
If you're Milbank, you better be throwing into the end zone.
Yes. Yeah, you can't take a chance on throwing it short. You got to get the ball all the way to the end zone. Hey, hundreds of South Dakotans are deployed overseas, and among them are specialist Bruce Jones of the 211th Engineer Company out of Madison and DeSmet. Bruce is actually providing video journals, photos, and a diary from Afghanistan. You can see his video journal at sdpb.org/active duty. And you can listen for stories on SDPB radio and watch special reports Tuesdays and Thursdays right after News Hour on SDPB TV.
.244 total yards for the Bulldogs in the first half, 50 for St. Thomas More. Colin Porath with 22 rushing attempts, 136 yards. Nick Mears, 10 carries for 30 yards. Porath, though, he's run for 2 scores and caught another one for 6. Maybe the final play of the first half. Mears, no one to throw to. Looking, still no one there. And is he going to get out of that or what? Nope. Corey Shear at the end drops him. Mike, that's the end of the first half.
I don't know if Corey Shear does any rodeoing, but that was some serious bulldogging that went on right there on that final play. Nice tackle. But that was big for St. Thomas More. Again, maybe a little bit of inexperience for the sophomore quarterback of not getting that ball up in the air, but still an outstanding first half for the Milbank Bulldogs. And Steve Toom is standing by on the sideline. Steve?
All right, Coach, you had a great first half. Take us through that first touchdown drive after you forced St. Thomas More in that 3-and-out.
I don't know. The first half doesn't mean anything. We got to come out like the score is 0-0. We're behind. Explosive as they are, we're going to be a world of hurt if we get with the big plays.
Now, that kickoff that you recovered earlier in the second quarter, was that a deliberate onside kick, or was that just a lucky bounce that went your way?
I'll let you decide that one on your own.
All right, Coach, what do you need to do in the second half? You got a 28-0 lead. What do you think you need to improve on? What do you got to watch out for from St.
We got to keep running the football. Our big boys up front got to keep mauling people, and then obviously their big explosive plays down the field. We got to be ready to go.
Coach, thank you and good luck.
Thanks.
All right, Jeremy Tosteson, head coach of the Milbank Bulldogs. We're going to take a break, come back with halftime. You're watching the South Dakota High School Football Championships on South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Sanford Health, and by Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Dakota.
Welcome back to Vermillion, the Dakota Dome, halftime of the 11A Football Championship here in South Dakota. Some halftime entertainment. Let's check in with our public address announcer, Greg Merrigan.
Today, our halftime show will be presented by the Milbank High School Marching Band under the direction of Susan Carroll. The marching band is led by drum majors Jeremy Duvall and John Ward. The flag captain is Carissa Schultz. This afternoon, their patriotic theme will include the song Spirit of America, God Bless the USA, featuring Milbank High School soloist Jacob Ebsen and ROCK in the USA. Please welcome the Milbank High School Marching Band.
Tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd hope for all my life. and I had to start again with just my family by my side. I thank my God above to be living here today, because the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart that it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to direct your attention to the area in front of the band. The guest band that's been playing for this session of the state championship football games, again, has been the Milbank High School Bulldogs band under the direction of Susan Carrolls. In appreciation for the fine music the band has provided during this session, Ken Pickering, Assistant Executive Director of the South Dakota High School Activities Association, is now presenting a plaque to commemorate the day to Susan Carrolls, Director of the Milbank High School Bulldogs Band.
Second half coming up between Milbank and St. Thomas More on South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Dakota Bank, and by Mid-Continent Communications.
Vermilion, the Dakota Dome, getting ready for the start of the third quarter. Milbank, Mike, all Milbank in that first half.
Yeah, 136 yards rushing for Colin Porath. Nick Mears was 4 for 4 throwing the ball, 5 for 5, excuse me, throwing the ball, and 173 yards on the ground by Milbank. Talking with one of the Milbank fans at halftime, he said this is exactly how we played against Del Rapids, just dominated that game from beginning to end. Meanwhile, Milbank is going to get the ball to start this second half. There you see our halftime statistics. 2 first downs for St. Thomas More.
Ready to go here, the start of the second half. And Kevin Robb will kick it off. Back deep. Mike Robinson back deep. Also back for the Bulldogs, Colin Porath.
We haven't seen Kevin Robb kick off yet. Again, he's got a big-time leg. Let's see if he can get this one into the end zone.
Oh, nice high kick. Porath from the 4. Needs another block. Turns upfield. Uh-oh. Watch out. Here he comes. Porath to the 30. To the 20. Flag on the play. Touchdown. Oh, man. Oh, what a run.
But it is coming back, I believe.
There was some pretty good. There was a hold against
right here
Milbank.
Towards the end of the play.
May have been right there.
Yep.
But what patience and he got some good blocking downfield, no doubt about it.
And again, like you said, patience, as he just did a great job. I mean, that was a 90-yard kickoff return that covered about 148 yards or so because of the weaving and bobbing. But still, again, great field position to start for Milbank. They will have it on their own, or on the St. Thomas More 29-yard line.
For Milbank, Draught and Snyder are the wideouts. New running back in. That is going to be the first penalty against let's see here. How many penalties on Milbank?
I think
that'd be their fifth of the game.
Yeah, they certainly, as many highlights as they had in that first half, they didn't exactly play their crispest game either, but again, they were certainly able to overcome the few mistakes that they did make. Just an early start there by number 11, Tanner Falk.
First down and 15 for the Bulldogs. And Nick Mears gets a couple of yards. Back into the ballgame, Colin Porath. He's going to come back in. Took a little bit of a breather after that long kickoff return.
Yeah, he needed to catch his breath. Again, that was a long run from one side to the other and back again.
Second down and 12 now for the Bulldogs. Let's see what the St. Thomas More D can do here. They need a good stop. Here's Porath, and got bottled up there right near the line of scrimmage.
Much more effective line play here in the early going of this second half. Making the tackle there, Jeremiah Brewster, the senior.
Derek Dieterman also there, linebacker.
So now a 3rd and long, and Milbank hasn't seen many 3rd and longs this afternoon. St. Thomas More desperately needing a stop here.
They'll send Chance Snyder wide. Also Mike Robinson wide. Quarterback option. The pitch is to Porath. Nice hit up to the 26. Going to be well short of the first down, but what a great open field tackle. Tyler Richardson.
And look what Richardson did there. He wrapped up. So many of those guys in that first half, they were just hitting them with their shoulders and expecting that to be enough. It was not. And there you saw actually two of the players wrapping up defensively. That's the adjustment that I'm sure St. Thomas More coaching staff talked about at halftime. Fourth down here, though, and they're going for it. 4-down territory with the ball at the 25-yard line.
Chance for St. Thomas More to make a stop. Their fans on their feet in the dome. Nick Mears, the quarterback. And a whistle.
Penalty on the far sideline.
Movement or encroachment? Good bet. One of those two.
Encroachment. White lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
If you're a St. Thomas More fan, that's going to help you out.
So 4th and 11. 6th penalty on Milbank.
$28-0 Milbank. First possession here, though, of the third quarter. Porath, the lone back behind Nick Mears. Airing it out. Oh, touchdown, Chance Snyder. What a throw by Nick Mears. Are you sure he's a sophomore?
Take a look at the execution on that play. I mean, perfect protection, step, throw, perfect throw, hits him in stride, just over top of the defensive back. 6 more for the Bulldogs. Wow. This is not the way I thought this game was going to go,
No.
and I don't think there's a lot of folks around the state that thought this was the way this game was going to go. I'm willing to bet that if Randy and the gang up there at the Lantern in Milbank.
Encroachment. Blue.
They're going to take that. They're going to assess that on the kickoff, I think. Instead of half the distance, they'll take it on the kickoff.
Yep.
Dead ball, encroachment, blue. Penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
But I'm willing to bet that if Randy and the crew at the Lantern there in Milbank haven't started happy hour yet, it's about to.
And the kick. No good.
The kick is no good.
Well, the only thing they haven't done right today on that one. Yeah. 34-0. Milbank with the lead over St. Thomas More. They take the opening kickoff of the second half. 4 plays, 29 yards, just under 3 minutes.
And again, remember that Porath actually took the kick all the way into the end zone. However, there was a late penalty, so it was a short drive. That brought it back out to the 29-yard line there. But boy, Milbank has just owned this football game. They came out. St. Thomas More had the ball. For those of you who haven't been with us all afternoon, may just be getting home from work. St. Thomas More got the ball to start the game. They had a 3-and-out. A nice punt by Rob. Set up Milbank with first down at their own 27 or so, if memory serves me. They marched it all the way into the end zone. Then they got an interception that set up a short field for a touchdown. And it has been all offensive line and all Colin Porath since then. Porath with 24 rushes. You said the record for attempts in an 11A game is 32?
Yes.
He's got 24 so far for 142 yards, a pair of touchdowns. He has caught a touchdown pass from Nick Mears. It has been all Milbank.
St. Thomas More, though, gets their first try at it here in the second half. Certainly expecting Milbank to squib this one again.
Yeah, speaking of that, if we can check in with Steve Toom on the sidelines from South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Steve, do you have some information for us on this kick?
Yes, this is something Milbank has done all year long. They've recovered 6 of them. It is designed to keep the kickoff away from the return men deep.
That one is taken by St. Thomas More's Tyler Richardson. Good field position for the Cavaliers at their own 44. Oh, here comes a flag.
Much better execution on that one. Everybody was going towards the ball. Richardson grabbed it and tried to get a couple of blocks over on the far side. But
yeah, but who's this going to go against?
Yeah, we'll see.
St. Thomas More is either going to be in Milbank territory or they're going to be going back another 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
There you see, good job by Richardson of grabbing the ball and then tries
Dead
to.
Ball, personal foul, white. Dead ball, personal foul, blue.
Oh.
Offset, 1st and 10, blue.
So leave it right where it is.
All right, St. Thomas More, Jared Jacobson is your quarterback. Parker Sullivan, Tyler Richardson are the running backs. Your wideouts, Nick Fees, Connor Casey, Mike Regan.
And they only ran 16 plays in that first half, Craig, so it bears repeating that you need to reintroduce them.
Here's a little bit of this is the handoff. Nice run, Connor Casey on the sweep.
We talked about it back when St. Thomas More was down by 3 touchdowns. Casey needs to touch the ball. Sullivan needs to touch the ball, and Jacobson needs to touch the ball. They tried to do that much more effectively on their last couple of possessions of that first half, and that's what they're starting this second half doing. Just a reminder, South Dakota Public Broadcasting, you can get all 3 channels. That's right, 3 channels. Contact your local provider.
Jacobson overthrows his intended receiver Tyler Richardson. Big pressure as Logan Lambrex was coming hard for Milbank against Jared Jacobson. I've got all 3. I love them. All 3 channels.
Yeah. I knew I figured that's what you meant. I do not.
Remember, he's got the rotary phone.
That's right. but I will contact my local cable provider.
3rd and 1 for the Cavaliers. This is their first possession of the second half. Down 34-0. Quarterback, keeper, and Jacobson's going to get the first down. Nice quick call. I like that call. Go on the quick snap.
So far they've run 19 plays, and I think, Craig, that we have seen about 12 different offensive sets for the St. Thomas More Cavaliers. But again, that is only their 3rd first down of the day.
Regan split wide to the left. 1st and 10. Here's Parker Sullivan getting some nice blocking to the outside down the sideline. He's going to score. Touchdown, St. Thomas More. No flags. That's the St. Thomas More that we heard all about.
Take a look. This time nothing fancy. A sweep with a nice job by the lineman to get down, and then once Sullivan gets in space, he's gone.
45 yards. Kevin Robb will try the extra point. He has not missed an extra point try all year. Nice high kick, and it is good. 56 of 56. Extra point tries for Kevin Robb, and St. Thomas More is on the board. Boy, St. Thomas More needed that
desperately.
Now maybe that can. It was a 4-play drive, 56 yards, just over a minute. Again, it was Parker Sullivan, his 5th rushing touchdown on the season.
Just a reminder that among the folks that you can or among the things that you can do at sdpb.org includes going back and checking out the archives of some of past games that we have done. Championship games, all sorts of activities, including high school band and chorus, orchestra and chorus, which was sensational coverage last week. And of course, Craig, next week, you're involved. I know it seems a ways off because we've got a lot of football over the next few days, but state volleyball championships going on. They'll be available at sdpb.org as well as on television.
Class A and Class B volleyball from Watertown a week from Saturday. The double A's will be at Frost Arena in Brookings. Kevin Robb puts it on the tee and it falls off. There you go, Kevin. Put it back on.
Nice to see the St. Thomas More fans, though, having something to cheer about here midway through the third period. Finally, they're getting back in. It had been all Milbank until that last drive.
Back deep is Robinson and Porath.
Remember, Porath took the last one to the house. Let's see how they approach this. They're going to pooch kick it.
And that's going to be taken by one of the up men. I believe that's Andy Buckley. Check that now. And Brian Drott.
Yep. Drott did a nice job there. Good recognition. Just take the ball, fall down. No need to try to get extra yardage. You've got great field position. You're ahead 34-7. And take it at your own 37-yard line and start from there.
Yeah. St. Thomas More defensively, though. Hey, make another stop right here.
Yep. Got to do it, but I have a feeling.
Swing the momentum, swing a little change.
I have a feeling that you're going to see a steady diet of Colin Porath. He's got 24 carries already.
We get 25. He gets a couple of this time to the 40. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Milbank has, this is their 4th appearance to the Dome, the finals. 1983, Belfouche beat them 20-13. 1989, Winter beats Milbank 27-14. And just 4 years ago, West Central beat Milbank 49-13 in the final.
And that 2005 team for Milbank, honestly, that was a heck of a football team. Don't kid yourselves. That just shows how good West Central was that year.
Porath hit at the line of scrimmage. Good upfield tackling here by St. Thomas More.
Again,
Tyler Richardson there.
Richardson there. Mike Reagan was in on the tackle as well. So again, a 3rd down here, Craig. This is what you were talking about. Get Milbank to punt the football away. Get that offense back on the field for St. Thomas More. See what happens. But yeah, Milbank has certainly piled up the wins through the years. But again, as you mentioned at the start of our broadcast, whether it be West Central or Del Rapids or Tri-Valley or some of the teams that they have had to face, Sisseton, outstanding club the last couple of years, they've just come up against some good teams, which meant they were short of the Dome.
Here's a pitch to the outside. 1st down and on his way. Chance Snyder. One man to beat. Can he beat Mike Reagan? No. Mike Reagan takes him out of bounds. Back at the 12-yard line. And Snyder getting slow up off the turf. Little wrinkle, and that one's going to come back, though, there, Mike. Penalty flag back at midfield. Negates the big run by Chance Snyder.
It was exciting to watch, though, and then the tackle there, and Snyder hits the turf hard. He's back up and just fine, but mark it.
Holding. White. 10 yards from the flag. Repeat, 3rd down.
That's probably why Snyder had the big move to the outside.
But again, you mentioned, Craig, a different wrinkle there. They tossed something in that they had not shown yet this afternoon. But again, so another opportunity. Milbank has certainly made their share of mistakes when it comes to penalties today. But another opportunity here for St. Thomas More.
7th or 8th penalty on the day for Milbank. And they're going to have to hurry up here. Well, they're going to get tagged for delay of game. 3rd down and 6. They just get off the play in time. Porath is going to be short.
Good job, St. Thomas More. Derek Detterman comes up from his linebacker position to make that tackle, and it will be a 4th down, and St. Thomas More will get the ball back.
Remind me to tell you about the back judge and how he actually helps the quarterback determine how soon he needs to snap the ball. We'll explain that here in a little bit as we got 4th down and 4 for Milbank. Back deep, Sullivan and Casey.
We've seen the explosiveness of both of them today.
Nick Mears will punt it. Oh, delay a game. I was just going to explain how they do that.
Now would be a good time to go ahead and explain that.
See, and there's a lot of coaches.
Delay a game, White. 5 yards, still 4th down.
A lot of coaches across South Dakota don't like this, but you know there is no play clock in South Dakota. But the back judge will count down 5 seconds left. If you watch him in the back, you know, behind the linebackers, he will wave his arm out, count down from 5, and that gives the quarterback shows the quarterback how much time he has. Which
or the punter in this situation.
Or the punter in this, and coaches say that's unfair to the defense. So that's why they don't like that. Short punt, fair catch, and St. Thomas More will have it at their own 35. And that time, I saw the back judge way back at the 30-yard line counting down, and Milbank wasn't able to get the count off.
And so St. Thomas More with an opportunity here. Again, not bad field position, but it hasn't been field position that has hurt them. It's been their execution on offense. Jeremy Tostenson talked about it at halftime, that with the big play capabilities that St. Thomas More has, the Milbank needed to treat it like it was a 0-0 game. Well, so far in this half, it's 7-6. Cavaliers on top.
2 wideouts to the left. Here is Parker Sullivan. Oh, he almost got out again. It looked like he was going to be able to get out to the outside again, but still picked up 8 yards.
Once again, a reminder, Parker Sullivan, no relation to head coach Wayne Sullivan. Wayne does have a son on the team, but he is a freshman for St. Thomas More. But Parker, an outstanding all-around athlete, spent his summer playing baseball for Rapid City, post 22. It was great to see at halftime how many of the Milbank Bulldog freshman and sophomore football players were also in the band. I thought that was cool.
Open field tackle by Kyle Cundy, but it's going to be a 1st down for Parker Sullivan.
It is nice to see how many schools where it is okay to be part of the athletic program and the arts. And Milbank actually goes out of their way to promote that. I know that, having talked with Boyd Sussex and the folks up there at Milbank, they really promote the fact that they want as well-rounded athletes, student athletes, arts people, you name it, they want you involved in it.
John Weber tips that pass from Jared Jacobson. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Weber with an interception in the first half.
Yeah, Weber with a terrific job of just rising up and snagging a ball out of the air back in that first quarter, which set up Milbank's 2nd touchdown.
4:24 to go, 3rd quarter. Milbank 34. St. Thomas More 7. The Cavaliers with it. 2nd and 10. Here's Sullivan, and Sullivan, boy, didn't have anywhere to go. Good pursuit. Jeff Trapp and the linebackers from Milbank. Found a seam somewhere. He was in the backfield.
Yes, he did, and it brings up a 3rd down and long. But a great read by Trapp of shooting that gap and picking up the tackle before Sullivan could gain any kind of momentum.
Milbank crowd now standing up. 3rd and 15 for St. Thomas More. Cavaliers with trips, but they'll throw to the other side. That is caught by Parker Sullivan. He's going to be short of the 1st down by about 1 yard.
Parker Sullivan didn't quite take that route far enough. He realized it when he came back and made the catch that he needed to turn it upfield. A good adjustment by Parker. There's the throw. He comes back to get the ball, knows where he's at on the field, and tries very hard to make it towards that first down marker. He can't make it, but sure enough, St. Thomas More going for it here on 4th and 1.
Now you got fans of both teams standing up here in the Dakota Dome, the 11A championship. Oh, he didn't get it. He didn't get it. Milbank stops Jared Jacobson. Not even close.
In on the tackle, among others, Dylan Dwyer.
Jeff Trapp was also there. Not even close. As you are watching the 11A championships on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Welcome back to the Dakota Dome in Vermilion. I'm Craig Maddock from Sioux Falls Sports Radio, KWSN in Sioux Falls, along with Mike Henriksen of SportsMax Radio, Steve Toom, and Gary Ellenbolt of South Dakota Public Broadcasting. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon.
And a cast of thousands, too. Our thanks to the crew and the camera folks.
They put in a lot of hours.
They certainly do.
3 days, so good job. The men and the women.
We really appreciate their efforts.
1st and 10, Milbank at their own 45. Quarterback is Nick Mears. Porath, boy, good pursuit that time by the Cavaliers.
That's his 28th carry. Again, the record is 32 in an 11A championship game.
Nolan Johnson, one of the linebackers for St. Thomas More. I think they know that Porath may be running the ball.
I think so. But again, it was that offensive line of Milbank that really set the tone for them. They owned that first half. And again, now Milbank in no rush as Mears comes walking into the huddle this time.
2nd and 12. Here's Porath. Oh, he tripped.
He tripped over Mears, I think. He and Mears got their feet tangled up with each other, I believe.
Gain of about 1. Brings up 3rd and 11. We're just going to check here how Mears has done passing today. He's 6 for 6.
Yep, 108 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not a bad day, huh, for a sophomore?
He's rushed 12 times for 40.
Yeah, they may have a Joe Robbie MVP award this afternoon.
3rd and 11. Pass to the outside. Chance Snyder, well short of the first down. Watch out!
Yep.
No, this is going to go against St. Thomas More.
Wow.
Boy, he got tackled about 7 yards outside the line of scrimmage, and this is going to be a first down for Milbank. Instead of 4th down and about 4, it's going to be first down for the Bulldogs.
And it's understandable. They get engaged there well inbounds, and the play just continues, and a couple other players end up jostling them there.
Officials are talking it over right now.
Yeah, this may be one of those things where
they're going to pick it up. Are
yep,
they?
They're going to wave it off. They are. You know what? And take again. You know, these officials actually, for them, this is their state championship. And again, it's on the opposite side of the field. But looking at that replay, it's a situation where the player and the defender were engaged well in the field of play. The momentum of both players took them out of bounds, and then they got bumped by a couple of other guys. So it is 4th down.
Mears is going to punt it. Takes the Milbank bounce. Probably not a bad play.
No, very smart play.
Not a bad play for Milbank.
Yep.
St. Thomas More will get it at their own 15. A little excitement here in the third quarter.
Yeah. St. Thomas More showed us some of their offensive flash with the burst by Parker Sullivan for the touchdown. Porath had the 90-yard kickoff return for a touchdown that was called back, but Milbank did eventually score on that. Again tonight, we anticipate a slugfest. Winner in Tri-Valley.
On the air at 7 Central, 6 Mountain. Jared Jacobson throws and 10-yard catch. And Wayne Sullivan wants them to hustle up here.
Tanner Folk with the tackle, but yeah, trying to step on the gas are the St. Thomas More Cavaliers, going with the no huddle.
45 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Short drop, quick throw, nice catch, and that's on the outside. Is that Casey?
I think so.
Yep. It is Casey.
And Chance Snyder with the tackle over there.
That was a long look. I was squinting on that one, looking for that one. But it's a first down for the Cavaliers. They're not necessarily hurrying up to get some plays in before the end of the quarter. I think they just want to increase the flow of their offense. That one's tipped again by John Weber.
He's got that down, doesn't he? That is the third time that Weber has disrupted a pass. Actually, probably the fourth or fifth that he's disrupted one. He's knocked 2 of them down and he's intercepted one.
We'll see if St. Thomas More wants to just kind of pick up their pace of the offense, getting out of the huddle quicker, shorter snaps. They got trips to the left. Second down and 10. Down the middle of the field. It is intercepted. Chance Snyder. Chance Snyder with his 4th pick of the year.
They had Connor Casey deep. Connor had run a nice pattern. He was a couple of yards behind the defender, but Snyder comes up on that ball that was underthrown.
6th interception of the year for Jared Jacobson. When you're down 34-7, you have to air it out.
Absolutely.
You need to go downfield.
And that's been St. Thomas More this year. That's for the last several years. That's what they do.
Yeah. 34-7, the Milbank Bulldogs with the ball.
Think Porath is going to break the carries record?
Yes.
He's got 29. The record is 32. Oh, he didn't get it that time.
Mears will throw. Kyle Cundy, the intended receiver. Oh,
just a little.
Hold on to it.
Yep, just a little bit of miscommunication there between the sophomore quarterback and the senior tight end.
Is that the first incomplete pass?
I believe it is.
First incomplete pass for Nick Mears this afternoon. He's now 7 of 8 passing. Second down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Porath up the middle. Gain of 5. Brings up 3rd and 6. 3rd and 6 for Milbank.
As the quarter comes to an end.
34-7, the Bulldogs and the Cavaliers here on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Welcome back to the Dakota Dome. Something about this time of year, Mike. 3 days of high school football here in Vermilion. Love this time of year.
Yeah, and we want to say hello to Wayne Carney, head of the South Dakota High School Activities Association, who is resting comfortably on his lazy boy, taking in the activities this afternoon here and all weekend. Wayne, just not the same without you here.
3rd and 6. Mears wants to throw to somebody.
Oh,
ran out of time. Corey Shear is there, also for Hunter Vincent of St. Thomas More.
There's been maybe 3 times all afternoon that he has looked like a sophomore quarterback. Otherwise, he is just, you know, his decisions have been terrific. And again, he hasn't hurt this squad at all. He's been a great help. But on that one, again, as he gets a little bit more experience, next year at this time, he probably throws that ball away.
4th down and 11. And Nick Mears is also the punter. Last time he ran to the sideline and then kicked it at the last moment. This time they slap right down the middle, and Parker Sullivan from the 20. Coming down the sideline. Nice speed and out of bounds at the 45.
So again, good field position, but again, in the words of Jerry Reed, the late great Jerry Reed, St. Thomas More has a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Nice shot there of Wayne Sullivan. Wayne also is the director of the flag football program at the Y out there in Rapid City. He also coaches a team out there with junior football. St. Thomas More, I think, has got like 3 or 4 teams in junior football. About 30 teams in the junior football program out there in Rapid City. 1st and 10. Jacobson, he's got time. And it is, oh, that one was in a lot of traffic. His intended receiver was Mike Reagan. Parker Sullivan was a little bit deeper than Reagan, but Reagan was the up guy.
Yeah, there haven't been a whole lot of times, at least, and again, they haven't run all that many plays this afternoon compared to you know what Milbank has run. But there haven't been many times that they've had, you know, 2 guys in the same neighborhood when it came to their patterns as far as sending guys down the field.
Sullivan and Reagan will go wide left. Connor Casey to the right. They're going to throw to Casey, and he catches it right at midfield. Tackled right away as Chance Snyder was there. And there was one other body there.
And you know, with Casey, there's another prime example. Take what we talked about with experience. Casey, first of all, with the nice catch, sees that he isn't going to get any extra yardage, so he wraps up on that football when he sees that the extra defender is coming over there to make the hit.
Same lineup here, same. We got trips out now for St. Thomas More, but they'll throw to the other side. And again, John Weber tips the pass.
You know, John Weber is only 6'2" and 175. But boy, oh boy, does he have anticipation. Take a look at him. He's on the left edge of your screen, coming in, gets engaged, sees the ball, hand up, ball goes down.
Milbank crowd comes on their feet here. It's 4th down and 4, and the Cavaliers are going to go for it. Here's Jacobson. Flushed out of the pocket. He's in trouble, and at the last minute he's able to throw it. Caught by Parker Sullivan. 1st down, Cavaliers.
And again, Craig, there's some of the athleticism that has been the trademark of St. Thomas More the last several years. We've seen flashes of it.
But 25-yard gain. The last moment, he able to throw that one downfield. Tough to throw it that way. Right-hander.
Yep.
Going to your left. Nice job by Jacobson.
Here they come with the no huddle again.
Caught by Connor Casey out at the 25. Gain of about 7. 10 minutes to go. St. Thomas More behind 34-7.
Again, they led it, or they trailed it 28-0 at halftime. First half dominated by the Milbank Bulldogs.
2nd and 3. And it is caught. Oh, Nick Feast gets drilled at the 15, but he able to hold on. 1st down, Cavaliers.
And again, you know, these state championships, whether it be in athletics or the fine arts, it's all about showcasing kids. And I'm glad that the state is starting to get a glimpse of what a lot of the western side of South Dakota has seen out of St. Thomas More.
Jacobson going to try himself. A nice little hip movement.
That was a great block on the outside, too, by the wide receiver. I think it was Richardson that came over and laid the block that allowed Jacobson to get outside.
It's going to be a first. That's going to be a first down. First and goal. First and goal.
Take a look here on the outside.
Little hip move there.
It is enough for the first down. So first and goal.
Jared Jacobson will stay in the shotgun. In trouble. Can he get to the end zone? Did he get in? Yes! Big hit. Oh, touchdown, Cavaliers. Boy, we could hear the smack from here.
Yeah, Nick Mears with a big-time hit. Nice job by the sound people down there. But he did just get in to the end zone.
Well, and that was on his right shoulder because Jacobson has had a sprained right shoulder for a while. Looks like he's able to get through that one okay. Extra point try by Kevin Robb, and Robb is perfect. 57 for 57 for extra points on the season. That's his second of the day. And Mike, it's 34-14 Milbank.
And I think we're going to see an onside kick by St. Thomas More here too. 8 plays, 58 yards. A minute 27 is all it took them to score. And again, here in the second half, Thomas More leads it 14-6. But it was that 28-0 first half domination by Milbank that really set up this game.
They still need 3 scores. Head coach Jeremy Tostenson of Milbank at halftime, he had his game face on at the end of the first half.
Yes, he did.
He still felt that they got to play like they're behind because he says St. Thomas More can't score at will.
Yeah, that was one of the more curt halftime interviews that I've ever seen. And
yeah, that was good.
And I'm glad that it was our friend Steve Toom from South Dakota Public Broadcasting that was involved in that.
If I have any other questions for Coach Tostenson, I think I'll wait till tomorrow.
Well, and that's the funny thing is there are very few coaches that are more accommodating than Jeremy Tostenson. It's just, you know, when you catch guys in game situations, that's going to happen.
All right, let's see if there's going to be an onside. Which side of the field is the ball going to go? It kind of looks like. Let's see how they set up.
Milbank is certainly prepared for an onside kick. Nope.
Wow, what a kick. What a leg.
Yeah.
Wow, that had height and everything and all the way back into the end zone. Tell you what, Kevin Robb has got a leg.
Well, in the second half, Greg, yeah, he does. We talked about that a little bit. He is a terrific weapon for St. Thomas More, has been all year.
He's kicked a 51-yard field goal this year, so he's got the leg, no doubt about it.
But in this second half, the defense of St. Thomas More has played better, and so consequently, Wayne Sullivan and his staff decided to take their chance on kicking it into the end zone, let Milbank start at their own 20-yard line. If you kick an onside kick and don't get it, you've given the other team great field position to start their possession, but here they decided to kick and put it on their defense.
Here is Porath,
and we've seen an awful lot of that in the second half. Colin Porath carrying the ball, but he has not run nearly as effectively in this second half.
It was here in the second half, St. Thomas More has outscored Milbank 14-6. Milbank was just so strong. What, 28-0 in the first half.
Carries now for Porath.
Second down and 5. Porath again. Big pile at the 25. Couple of yards for Porath. Again, the record of individual record at rushing attempts in Class 11A. Jason Lieber of Vermilion, 1992, 32 rushing attempts. He had 283 yards that day.
Well, Porath has certainly earned every yard that he's gotten, especially in the second half. That first half, he had gone for about 120 on 17 or 18 carries, if memory serves. Maybe on 22 carries, excuse me.
3rd down and 3. Nick Mears will take it himself. He's going to get the first down, and down the sideline he goes. Mike Reagan knocks him out of bounds.
And again, there's that decision making that is so tough to come by in a sophomore. He decides not to pitch it to Porath. Instead, he uses Porath as a blocker, and it's the key block on Sullivan that gets Mears up the sideline.
30-yard run for Nick Mears.
Oh, and the big man, Dave Albert's almost knocked down there on the sideline. It takes a lot to knock down David. David on the staff at Lincoln High School.
1st and 10 for Milbank at the St. Thomas More 42. 8 minutes to play. Porath just right up the middle. He'll get 4.
And now at that 8-minute mark, Craig, that was a huge first down. If Milbank would have had to give the football back, then you start thinking, well, maybe the Cavaliers have a chance at it. But that first down, a steady diet of Colin Porath. I keep calling him Nick. I apologize for that, Colin. But a steady diet of Colin Porath, and I think that St. Thomas More is going to watch Milbank kind of salt this one away.
If Porath doesn't get the ball, that's a surprise right now. 2nd down and 7. Porath, good pursuit by St. Thomas More as Jeremiah Brewster, one of the Cavaliers there. Bottom of the pile, Corey Shear of St. Thomas More.
And that is the 33rd carry of the game that officially breaks the record in Class 11A.
That record has stood for 17 years. Oh, thanks a lot. Way to remind me. I remember Jason Lieber.
I was just going to say, I'm sorry. I'm not wild about bringing up how long ago stuff has been.
3rd and 7. Mears looking for the first down, but well short of the first down. J.J. Hollabaugh.
But again, by the time St. Thomas More gets this ball back, there is going to be under 6 minutes to play in the ball game.
Also Nolan Johnson there on the stop. So there you go. 4th down and 5. Milbank, what are you going to do? They have seen the success where they will roll out Nick Mears. 4th down.
Go with the pooch kick or his option. Here, though, they're going to line it up in the I formation.
Trying the hard count.
And that's what they're doing. And now we've got.
And now that is a delay game. Yep, they were trying the hard count to try to get the free first down from the penalty.
Yep. What they try to do there, for folks who don't turn into football on a regular basis, they line up as if they're going to run a play, even though they have no intention of running a play, hoping that the defense will get anxious and jump offside and give them the free 5 yards. Good job by St. Thomas More of not biting on that. Now it's a punting situation.
Mears will punt. Connor Casey back deep for the Cavaliers. And this one is
good punt.
Out at about the 14.
That's a dandy job there by Mears of getting that ball out of bounds.
A shout of the Milbank crowd is Milbank has not won a football championship. Their 4th appearance to the Dome. I think about late September, not very many people in Milbank were thinking they'd be here today.
No,
it was not a very good football team back then.
1-3. They had played some tough squads, but they got off to a very, very rough start to their season. But they are undefeated since that open week.
That is Parker Sullivan, just shy of the first down and out of bounds. And now you'll see the probably the no huddle. The spread offense continues for St. Thomas More. Their lone loss to Winter. In fact, St. Thomas More lost that game 36-31.
And they were actually leading, if memory serves right. Yep. Leading that game. Winter came from behind.
2nd and 1. Nice fake down the sideline. Parker Sullivan, what a beautiful throw. Great catch by Parker Sullivan. First down, Cavaliers.
And a great job by Michael Robinson of making the tackle. That was just a perfect pitch and catch there, Craig.
40 yards on the pass play. Aired it up along the sideline. Led him beautifully.
Yep.
Parker Sullivan.
And Robinson had good coverage on him. Was just a half a step behind, but that ball was laid in there perfectly. And now Milbank wants a timeout.
That was a great throw by Jacobson.
That was. And again, as we say, South Dakota high school activities are about showcasing kids, and it's nice that St. Thomas More has done a much better job of showcasing themselves in this second half. Hey, a reminder that South Dakota Public Broadcasting now broadcasts 3 channels. SDPB1 is our primary channel, available in high def. SDPB2 is PBS World, featuring documentaries, news, and history programming. SDPB3 is Create, featuring how-to, cooking, sewing, and travel. 3 SDPB TV channels available for free over the air and on many cable systems across South Dakota. Go online to sdpb.org to learn more.
And Mike will be back again tonight. The 11B state title. Tri-Valley and Winter. You got 2 undefeated teams back at it. Tri-Valley trying to go for their 3rd straight 11B championship. We'll be on the air 7 o'clock tonight Central, 6 Mountain.
Looking forward to it. That should be a terrific game.
1st and 10 Cavaliers at the Milbank 34. Jacobson, is he going to run it? He'll get the first down, and he gets drilled at the stick. Well, I think that was Logan Lambrechts came in with a pretty good pop.
I think you're right. That was a nice tackle at the end of that play.
First down, Cavaliers.
Clock does stop with the resetting of the chains, but again, St. Thomas More still in need of 3 scores.
There's a shot of Colin Porath, I think, who had the shot on it. Here's Jacobson, 1st and 10. Caught by Reagan at the 15. Stays in bounds, or held in bounds. Keeps the clock running with 5 minutes to go in the ballgame.
Clock, though, continuing to run. Still 3 timeouts for the Cavaliers.
2nd down and 1 for St. Thomas More.
Going with the 5 wide.
Flushed out of the pocket. Caught by Parker Sullivan at the
2. Nice tackle, not allowing Sullivan to get into the end zone. But again, good improvisation by Jacobson.
1st and goal from the 2. St. Thomas More has been averaging 41 points a game on the season. Park and the pass. Oh, in and out of my hands. Is that Derek Whitlow? No, that was Tyler Richardson.
And that time, I think that maybe Jacobson faked out Richardson. Took off on the run, but again, good field awareness, knowing where that line of scrimmage was. Decided to try to dump it off to his end in the end zone. Stopping the clock, 4.5 minutes to play.
Sullivan and Richardson. Wide left. Reagan wide right. Here's the pass. That's Reagan. Did he get it? Yes. Touchdown, St. Thomas More. That was Nick Feast. Nick Feast, touchdown.
Feast, the senior. Take a look. Just the good solid throw. Feast was well covered, but he went up, grabbed it, held on.
Kevin Robb, extra point try. Oh, he gets that ball up there. Oh, he missed it.
Oh, no. That was huge for St. Thomas More.
That's his first miss of the year.
Wow.
With 4:27 to play, Bulldogs 34, Cavaliers 20, the 11A championship on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Mike, I'm expecting an onside kick here as the Cavaliers 2 scores behind the Bulldogs.
Well, I was expecting one the last time, but they decided to take their chance on their defense. The folks from Milbank got a couple of first downs, though, but you're right. Here comes the the onside kick, but it is recovered by Milbank.
Chance Snyder had the hands team out there. Chance Snyder went up and got it. It'll be Milbank ball. Bulldogs 2 timeouts left. Cavaliers have all 3 of theirs.
Of course, the ball taking that high hop that you get down here on the artificial turf at the Dakota Dome.
If you're St. Thomas More, you need a turnover right now. You need to get a turnover. Because otherwise, I think it's going to be a lot of Colin Porath here on this drive. Mears will take it.
Running that sweep again. Stay in bounds, young man. He does.
Gets to midfield. That's a 10-yard gain for Nick Mears.
Yep, that'll stop the clock anyway. He could have gone out of bounds, I guess.
16 carries, 77 yards for Nick Mears.
But the clock will start here once the chains are set. Yeah, and again, a nice block on the outside by Porath. He's been the man carrying the ball most of the afternoon, but he's turned into a very effective blocker as you see the clock rolling. And I think you'll see St. Thomas More start using their timeouts here. You have to stop Milbank from picking up another first down.
Yep, got to. Nick Mears, a sophomore quarterback, goes off of right tackle. He's going to pick up about 6 yards on that carry.
Milbank, good job by Mears of wrapping up as Tommy Moore was trying to strip the football, and St. Thomas More does take their timeout here at the end of this play.
All right, let's run down our schedule for the rest of the next couple of days here. South Dakota Public Broadcasting and the South Dakota High School Football Championships coming up tonight. It's the 11B final. Tri-Valley and Winter on the air at 7 o'clock Central, 6 Mountain. And then on Friday, tomorrow, Hanson and Avon.
That is a rematch. Again, Hanson, that was early in their schedule. Hanson got beat by 3 teams this year, and all 3 of those teams are on your television screen right now. Avon, Emory-Eaton, and Howard were the 3 teams to beat Hanson this season. So Jim Haskamp has done a great job there. Avon has been a juggernaut, which has been amazing. Then tomorrow night, Del Rapids St. Mary's versus Hitchcock-Tulare in the 9B championship against 7 Central, 6 Mountain. And then the AA championship, undefeated Washington and Aberdeen Central against 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Mountain is when our air times are here on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. And again, if you are logging on to svpb.org, become a fan on Facebook, Twitter, and drop us an email. Let us know where you are watching.
2nd down and 4 from the Tommy Moore 44, and Mr. Mears is going to be close to a first down, but here comes a flag, Mike.
Penalty, and I think this might be a holding out on that far end. This will stop the clock, and I think it will move Milbank back a few yards. Yep, holding.
Well, you don't decline it here. You move him back. Got to move him back.
Yep.
It would be, what, second down and about 9? Second and 10?
Holding on Milbank. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Again,
yeah, it depends on the spot of the foul. There you go.
Should be about second and 12. Yep, about second and 12 for Milbank. Milbank 8-3 on the year. Their losses to West Central, Aberdeen Roncalli, and Groton.
But again, that clock now continuing to run after the penalty, and Milbank going to go ahead and take their time here.
Nick Mears maybe watching that back, Judge. Take as much time as he can. Takes the snap. Breaks loose. Breaks another tackle. Gets the first down to the 37 of St. Thomas More.
Well, Craig, with 2 timeouts left in their pocket for the Cavaliers, that could pretty much be the ball game. They'll be able to stop the clock a couple more times is all, but that timeout, or that first down, is going to eat up another minute and a half at least off the clock. And that means that even if St. Thomas More does get the ball back, they would only have about a minute and a half and 2 scores to do so.
If you're St. Thomas More defensively, if anybody's running with the ball, you got to go out there and try to strip it.
And they've been trying to do that here in this second half. Again, though, I can't stress how much better St. Thomas More played in this second half. Defensively, offensively. But again, that first half that Milbank put together was just too much for Thomas More to overcome. They're going to call the timeout here.
3-yard gain.
St. Thomas More.
For Nick Mears. Nick Mears and Colin Porath have been the 2 big offensive stars for them today.
It's going to be tough, again, choosing that Joe Robbie Award winner. Colin Porath with 34 carries and 162 yards. The carries number is a 11A championship record. But meanwhile, Nick Mears, 84 yards on the ground, and throwing the ball, he's 7 for 8 for 114 yards and 3 touchdowns. And plus, Craig, his decision making in the second half was just tremendous. Milbank doesn't have a turnover yet, do they?
No, they don't. No interceptions, no fumbles.
They have taken care of the football. Their only mistakes have come penalty-wise. I'm sure that there have been more penalties than what Coach Jeremy Tossenson and his staff would like to see. But other than that, they have just played a terrific football game.
Milbank 2 minutes and 44 seconds away from winning the 11A championship and their first football championship. They had a boys basketball crown here, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yep. Again, I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was, Craig.
Nick Mears will just keep it himself. Gets to the sideline and skids down and gets the first down.
And again, look at what he did there. He was not going to run out of bounds and stop that clock. He fell down in bounds. Just a terrific decision by that young man. Again, the clock stops to reset the chains. Nick Mears now, there you see the stats for him. 20 rushes, 111 yards. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns. And again, the clock is going to roll. St. Thomas More still with 1 timeout left. But with the first down and 10, this one's pretty much done.
First and 10 at the 25. Movement at the line. This one's going to go against Milbank.
Snap infraction on Milbank. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
So move it back to the 30-yard line.
St. Thomas More, 5th appearance in the Dome. They've been here 5 times in the last
6 years?
6 years.
By the way, for those of you in that picture on the right there in the blue, that is Rick Bromer, longtime coach at Sioux Falls, Washington of the girls basketball program. He's now on the staff out at St. Thomas More.
Here's Mears. Big gain, and not much more St. Thomas More can do. They've used up now they've used up all their timeouts with 2 minutes to go.
Timeout, St. Thomas More.
You look at the teams that St. Thomas More has had to run into in the 11A championship. Well, first they were in the 11B championship, their first 3 trips. They lost to Howard and twice to Aberdeen-Roncalli when Aberdeen-Roncalli had that mammoth run they had.
Exactly.
And then they lose to West Central 2 years ago.
Yep.
2 years ago.
And then this year they run into a Milbank team that
is hot.
It's absolutely hot and playing great football at the end of the season. And Craig, we knew that was what it was going to take. Listen, the teams at the top of the KWSN rankings this year, they weren't having the seasons that a lot of their past teams have had, specifically West Central and you know, some of the other teams that are usually in the hunt.
The Harrisburgs, the Dill Rapids.
It was open this year, and it came down to who's playing your best football at the end of the year. And there's no question in my mind that the Milbank Bulldogs are playing the best football at the end of the year, and they can hoist this trophy proudly despite having 3 losses on the season. That's the whole point of an athletic activity. Did you have fun and did you get better? Well, I tell you what, I think Milbank is doing both.
2nd down and 4, and Mears is going to get the first down. Down to the 12, and St. Thomas More cannot stop the clock. Milbank will end the year, Mike, winning their last 8 ball games.
Yep. And the Milbank crowd can sense it. They are on their feet. Once the chains are set, the clock will start, and Milbank can go into victory mode here.
They'll have to take 3 knees, but then they can end this ball game. Still to come, the award ceremony, the Joe Robbie Award winner, also the best lineman of the game. Nick Mears is just going to take a knee, but they wasted too much time. Be a penalty.
Dead ball. Delay a game. Milbank. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Oh, 11 penalties on Milbank.
Yeah, that's something that, you know what? I think today, though, Jeremy Tostenson and his staff can live with that, because
I think so.
You know, and again, they lost the second half 20-6 was the final in the second half, because it was 28-0 at halftime. But again, that first half by Milbank was so dominating, and it was just something that St. Thomas More could not recover from.
Okay, some kudos to that offensive line for Milbank.
Yep, they set the tone, didn't they?
Yep, St. Martin, Stephen, Zemlicka, Dwyer, and Trapp, they were pretty good today. They opened up some big holes for Porath and Mears.
Yep, especially in that first half when Porath was eating up his yardage. Then in the second half, it was all about possession for the Milbank Bulldogs. And pretty soon they're going to be possessing the state trophy.
That may have been the last play. We'll see how soon the referees want to.
Yeah, they're going to take their time spotting the ball. Make sure. Oh, they will have to run one more play, I believe.
One more. Milbank started 1-3. They win their last 8. And they're going to be crowned the 11A champs, South Dakota. Congratulations to the Milbank Bulldogs.
And again, congratulations to Coach Wayne Sullivan and the St. Thomas More Cavaliers. Another terrific season. I know that folks are disappointed that they don't pick up the victory when they get down here, but St. Thomas More is a program, like Gettysburg is a program, like West Central is a program. They have done a terrific job with their kids. And again, a lot of disappointed faces wearing black. But congratulations on a terrific year for that St. Thomas More family.
Milbank puts up 410 yards of offense today. St. Thomas More 288.
But again, in that first half, St. Thomas More had 2 first downs. It was complete domination by the Milbank Bulldogs.
We're going to be handing out the hardware here in just a moment. And we will hand it off to the public address announcer, Greg Merrigan.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to the center of the playing field to present the awards to the 2009 runner-up and championship teams for Class 11A football are Terry Nebelsack and Darren Paulson from the Board of Directors of the South Dakota High School Activities Association. Assisting with the team awards presentation are representatives from the Activity Association's corporate partners, Dr. Verl Valentine from Sanford Health and Jeremy Clay from Farmers Union Insurance. And first we will present the Class 11A runner-up trophy. They finished with an outstanding record of 10-2. St. Thomas More, the Cavaliers, and head coach Wayne Sullivan. And now to accept the State Class 11A Championship trophy, their first ever 11A state title, the Milbank Bulldogs, head coach Jeremy Tostenson. And fans, we have several individual awards to present as well. Each year during the championships here at the Dakota Dome, the South Dakota High School Coaches Association select an outstanding lineman and an outstanding back. The coaches have selected John Weber of Milbank High School as the outstanding lineman in this championship game. And the coaches have selected Colin Porath as the outstanding back of this championship game. And our final individual award, each year during the championship games, members of the media select a Joe Robbie Most Valuable Performer, the outstanding performer in this championship game. Finished the day with 34 carries. That is a new Class 11A championship record, 162 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Joe Robbie MVP from Milbank, Colin Porath. And finally, Milbank fans, there will be a welcome home tonight at the Milbank High School when the team arrives at approximately 10:30. Thank you.
Congratulations to Milbank. We got more from the Dome on the way. This is the South Dakota High School Football Championships on South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Dakota Bank, and by Mid-Continent Communications.
All right, we're back at the Dakota Dome with the victorious coach Jeremy Tostenson from the Milbank Bulldogs. Coach, you were concerned about those weapons of St. Thomas More. They displayed them in the second half.
Oh, yeah, we were scared in big time, and a lot of credit to the way their kids play, especially that second half. And they're an explosive team, and they're a very quality team, and we're just fortunate to end up on the good side, I guess.
Now, Colin Porath set the 11A record with 34 carries. Was that the game plan all along, to give him the ball an awful lot?
Well, that's what the big fellas decided about halfway through the year, that we were going to run the football and run it effectively. And that's kind of when Colin kind of took things over and decided, I'm going to be the man running the football. And the big fellas, they just, that's what we needed to do, was run the ball. And today, we were just going to run one play, and we ran it well.
Now, something I noticed on the sideline, your players on the sidelines were yelling, O-line. O-line over and over again. Is that something that they picked up on?
Well, no, that goes to Coach Huber. He's an old guy that coached for a lot of years, and we kind of dusted him off and brought him back for a couple of years, and he was with us in 05, and he kind of started that. And the big boys, they got her done for us today.
Now, you started off 1-3. You had the bye week. How did you ever think you'd be here on the floor of the Dakota Dome with that championship trophy?
Not in a million years. We knew going in we had 10 good quality seniors, and we had some good young skill guys, and especially you start 1-3 and it could go south in a hurry. But our seniors, they hung together, and we had 3 good games there, and we're dinged up, but we came back, and that bye week was huge for us, and we just got better each week, and that was kind of our deal. It's just, hey, let's just get better each week and see what happens. Got into the playoffs, and we just kind of one game at a time, and we were fortunate to play them all at home, and that's what we were concerned about, was just playing them one at a time, and well, this is how it ended up, I guess.
Well, Coach, congratulations. Go celebrate with the team.
Yeah, you bet. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeremy Tostenson, the head coach for the Milbank team. That's your 11A champion. Send it back to Craig and Mike.
And we'll be back with more from the Dome here on South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Sanford Health, and by Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Dakota.
Welcome back to the Dakota Dome in Vermillion. I'm Craig Maddock along with Mike Henriksen and Steve Toom. Milbank wins the 11A championship. The final score 34-20. First title for the Bulldogs in football. And looking at the stats and the plays of this game, Mike, it was a lot of dose of Colin Porath and Nick Mears for the Milbank Bulldogs.
Yeah, there's the final stats. And again, keep in mind that St. Thomas More had 2 first downs in the first half, and well under 100 yards of total offense in that first half. So it was 28 to nothing at halftime. Things did balance out a bit in that second half, but by that time Milbank was in control. Let's send it down to Steve Toom, who's standing by with the Joe Robbie Player of the Game.
Indeed, I am. Colin Porath, are you tired?
Oh, very. It's, I'm not used to playing this much, and especially having all those runs.
Now, 34 carries, that's an 11A record. Jason Lieber had that record. How's it feel to be standing on top of that particular record?
Still really hasn't hit me yet, it's crazy.
Now, you guys got off to a rough start, 1-3. You had the bye week and then came on strong in the second half. What was the difference for your team?
We those 3 losses, we just needed to keep our heads high, keep the intensity, just do what we do.
You think you got another one in for you next year? You're just a junior, right?
Oh, yeah, being here, I hope we can get here next year. I got the team for it.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Colin Porath, your Joe Robbie Award winner. Milbank, your state champion. Send it back to Craig and Mike.
Oh, yeah. I like the confidence.
You bet.
You bet. It's his team now.
Well,
you bet. When you're the Joe Robbie Award winner, it's your team, right?
And Mears just a sophomore, and yeah, they've got a lot of good youngsters. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. There's that throwback from Mears to Porath, his first touchdown receiving of the entire year, Craig.
He had 2 others, though, on the ground as well, and this one here was a big part of the game. Loose ball on the kick, recovered by Milbank, and they just never stopped after that. St. Thomas More couldn't get close at all, as that's the touchdown pass to Tanner Folk.
Yep, great job by Mears there, and Wayne Sullivan trying to mount a comeback, but there's the pitch back. Porath.
Just a lot of runs like that. Just a lot of runs by Porath. Hard runs. He, averaged almost 5 yards a carry.
And what a perfect throw there by Nick Mears on the touchdown into the end zone to Chance Snyder.
Right on the mark. St. Thomas More, they came back with a couple of scores.
They got to show what they were all about. Jacobson with the run, he's able to get into the end zone just enough.
Yeah, this
couple of throws.
He got smacked pretty good on the one touchdown.
But then take a look at this. I think this is the one where the sophomore, rather than go out of bounds, he just falls down inbounds so that he keeps that clock moving. Then he picks up another first down, and that was, for all intents and purposes, the ball game.
34-20 the final, and Jeremy Tostenson and the crew for Milbank, they're state champs.
So there you go. St. Thomas More not able to get it done today. Milbank taking that trophy up by 29.
We'll be back in a moment here on South Dakota Public Broadcasting.
The 2009 South Dakota High School Football Championships are brought to you in part by your membership in the Friends of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, by Dakota Bank, and by Mid-Continent Communications.
One champion has been crowned. Milbank wins it in the 11A championship. We've got more tonight. The 11B championship, Tri-Valley and winner. 3 more to crown tomorrow and 1 on Saturday. Mike Henriksen from Sportsmax Radio. Your thoughts of this one? I didn't think we'd see the total domination by Milbank in that first half.
Yeah, likewise, and that's exactly what it was. Milbank absolutely owned that first half of football, set the tone for the entire day, and really put way too much distance between them and St. Thomas More. Again, it was nice to see St. Thomas More play better in that second half, but boy, congratulations, Jeremy Tossenson and the Milbank Bulldogs. A well-deserved title in Class 11A.
It was a heavy dose of Colin Porath and Nick Mears for the Bulldogs. And again, reminder tonight, we'll be on the air 7 o'clock Central, 6 Mountain, the 11B championship. 2 undefeated teams going for the crown. Tri-Valley will try for a three-peat in 11B. For Steve Toom, Mike Henriksen, and the men and women of South Dakota Public Broadcasting, I'm Craig Maddock. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you tonight.